Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
It's Hump Day. We're halfway home. Welcome to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.
Now.
Why, are you going to go into what he was talking about
I guess
pre-show?
I shouldn't. We don't have
if you do, you're going to be derailed for an hour.
I know.
We out of here.
Keep it quick. We had a lot to get to today. We have two guests, but I do think it is worth mentioning.
All right, go ahead, Bull.
And teasing
Tyvus just
for a
said
later
during,
day.
like as we were coming on, like 5 minutes ago, Tyvus goes that Giannis is the greatest basketball player of all time.
Ever to touch a basketball.
He
Ever.
is.
And we look, all three of us, it got real
That's
quiet in
fine.
here, and we all looked at him and we're like, is this April Fool's Day? What's going on?
All I'm going to say,
And then he got fired up because I said I would take Kareem Abdul-Jabbar over
it's
Shaq.
blasphemy. That's blasphemy.
Yeah.
You
We have
saying
60
Giannis is the
seconds. The
greatest-
timer is set for 60 seconds.
Okay.
Go.
You're nuts. You're nuts, Tyvus.
No, I'm not.
Giannis is the greatest
Giannis
ever to
is the
touch a
most
basketball.
dominant figure to come in the game since Shaq. He busts everybody in the game.
How is he
Hold
more
on.
dominant than
Wait a
LeBron?
minute. Because I'm going to tell you how. Everybody knows that what Giannis is going to do. He's going to get the ball, he's going to go down in the paint, and he's going to score. Nobody can stop it. This man does not shoot three-pointers. How is it that he's in the running for most points per game in the season? I think he finished, third this season? He ain't even shooting threes. What are y'all talking about?
He's
Come
only
on,
got
man.
to the finals once.
The man is and won it. He's won it all.
only once.
Finals MVP.
Hey, you know what? To be continued, because
Yeah.
we only had a minute.
And it's done.
We
Yeah.
will definitely do this.
Hey,
You're
go
off
Bucks.
next
When
week.
you come
You're
back,
back
go
the Wednesday
Bucks.
after. So 2
Yeah.
weeks from today,
Yeah.
we are going to go in on this
And I'll
topic.
debate the Kareem
Yeah.
Shaq with him too. But on the Deshaun Watson thing, before we go down the road of the cases and the settlements, I got to say this real quick about Deshaun Watson. Because in the last week and change, I've done three or four radio interviews, including the latest one when I was. You don't need the timer anymore because we're on to Deshaun Watson.
Look how focused we is.
I just want everyone to see that when we say there's a 60-second limit, there's a 67 limit. We stay to
Giannis is the
Let's go
greatest.
to Watson. Let's get to the show, guys. Tyvus lost his
What
mind, so
advanced
let's go to-
technology we have,
let's-
too. What a
yeah.
countdown.
So yesterday, I was on doing an interview in a radio station in North Carolina, right? And I'd been on in Alabama and a couple other places. And everywhere I go on, they're asking me, like, what do the fans think about Deshaun Watson? Okay, I get that. And yesterday, though, I got fired up because the guy who was interviewing me says, well, Carolina fans really feel like they dodged a bullet by not trading for Deshaun Watson. I said, oh, really? I said, listen, the only way you could argue that is if Deshaun Watson never plays again. I said, let me ask you this. Let's say Deshaun Watson gets suspended for a year, which I don't think he's going to be ultimately, but let's say he does, in theory, get suspended for a year. I said, listen, would you rather have Jacoby Brissett for 1 year and then Deshaun Watson for 4, or the crapola you got at quarterback in Carolina? And he was like, well, okay, I guess that's a good point. Like, people are so prisoner of the moment. Like, oh, this is a disaster, a terrible trade. And maybe 5 years from now we'll look back and we'll say that was the case. I don't think so, but maybe we will. But to say it's a disaster right now is absurd. And the latest news coming out about Daniel Snyder helps Deshaun Watson's case.
We're going to get into that in the discussion of Deshaun Watson because we talked about last week how the NFLPA said they're going to come out guns blazing.
Yeah.
Well, there was a story leaked about the investigation into what was going on with Washington, and it's not good news for Dan Snyder. But I wouldn't be surprised if this isn't somehow, some way tied to the NFLPA.
Yes.
Because they said they were going to hit hard, and we could possibly have seen the first missile in this fight between the league and the PA.
And Jay, I'm going to interrupt again. I apologize, but I'm going to do it. I want to talk to our fans. I'm looking right in the camera. Don't apologize, even if you want to say Deshaun Watson's a bad guy, but don't apologize for being excited for him being on the team. And yeah, you're a hypocrite like we all are. Oh, because we were ripping Roethlisberger and ripping the Steelers. And just admit you're a hypocrite, but admit something else. All these other fan bases around the country for these teams that have scrub quarterbacks like Carolina or all these other teams that were trying to get Deshaun Watson, their fans are going to pretend they dodged a bullet. They're going to say, oh, he's a bad guy. I wouldn't want him on my team. They're all full of crap. They'd all want him on their team.
Hey,
It's that simple.
I want to commend you for coming out swinging today.
I'm sorry, no.
I want to
Let's go. Let's go.
Let's get it going.
Let's go.
I will say, I did a podcast last night.
Yeah.
And before I went on, the producer had sent a text to me saying, "Are you going to be an apologist, or are you going to give your true opinion?" And I said, "I don't know. I only know how to give my true opinion."
Exactly.
I'm not going to be an apologist. I think that Cleveland has made some missteps here.
Yeah.
So I won't excuse everything they've done.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I do think that the national folks, the national media, is looking at the local Cleveland media that's decided to come out and defend Deshaun Watson as apologists. That's what they're labeling the Cleveland media that are saying things now about Watson that we perhaps weren't saying about.
But I'm not defending Deshaun Watson personally. I'm defending him being on the team.
That's what they're meaning. An apologist for the Browns' actions to go and do this. All right, reset.
Reset.
At 11:05. 20 of the 24 cases were settled yesterday. This was breaking news on our program yesterday.
Yep.
We told you about that. That means there are 4 that are unsettled. We've had some time to think about this and to read and to find more information that we maybe didn't have available to us yesterday. Tyvis, you weren't in. What are your thoughts on the 20 cases being settled yesterday by Watson?
Well, I think it's one of those things that, the NFL got with him. I think once the Texans got involved in the whole thing, I think they was like, listen, you ain't about to keep fighting. No, because see, now you bringing us into it. So now we need you to settle. If
you think the league put pressure on Watson to settle?
You settle, we'll give you X amount of games if you settle now. But if you fight this thing and the Houston Texan goes down with you, then you might not never come back. Like, I think we might give you the 2-year ban type thing. So I think he was kind of, this is one of the things that, he was like, you know what? I just take the games. I really, really wanted him to clear his name because, like I said, I'm not.
This doesn't do that for you.
Yeah, not at all. I think the settlement, everybody's still going to say, hey, if you settle, it admits guilt. I think you told me that. If you settle, that admits guilt. Yep. And the thing about it to me is, I think I read somewhere on Twitter, which you could take it with a grain of salt, is that each woman is getting like $150,000. So you telling me $150,000, this man has basically caused you pain, scarred you for life with this, and you telling me $150,000 is enough to get rid of all that, to make all that cool?
We talked to a Cleveland-based attorney yesterday on our Channel 3 program, What's New, at 5 o'clock. He thinks the number's much smaller than that.
See, and that's what I'm saying.
He thinks it's a third of that, like in the 50,000 range, which would be a $1 million total settlement for all 20.
I sat here and said 50 racks yesterday.
That's not enough.
Listen, it's all guesswork. Nobody knows.
We don't know, and it doesn't matter, and it doesn't mean we can't analyze whether it's true or not based on how much money they got or whatever. You don't know what you could prove in court. It may be hard.
I just bring up the lawyer's statement because he's in the game.
Right.
And he said, I know if I was representing the women what I would ask for, and I know if I was representing Watson what I would be willing to pay. And by the way, I want to clean one thing up. Yeah. I'm not necessarily, I've never said that if you settle that it admits guilt. What I say is if you settle, you are taking responsibility for something. And maybe he still believes in his mind because he's reiterated time and again he's done nothing wrong. Yeah, so I don't want to implicate him that he's always guilty because he settled. Yeah. I think what it implies is there is a price for him moving on with his life, and he's willing to take responsibility for whatever it is that's happened here.
Well, I think it's one of those things like we've been alluding to this whole time where he, in his mind, he didn't realize that he caused this pain. I think after sitting down and maybe putting himself in their shoes and understanding where they're coming from, because that's what makes you a better human being. You have to understand where your victim is coming from, because if you completely think you're innocent and you're not willing to listen to their reasoning, you won't understand. Right. So I think him probably sitting down, listening, like, oh my goodness, like if that's what happened during this that made you feel like I sexually assaulted you, then I apologize, and then I think that could have forced him to say.
Bull, I want to get your thoughts how they may have evolved, but before we do that, Stevie, can we play the clip from Watson at the mandatory minicamp from last week
when asked whether or not he would consider settling?
Yeah, here was his response.
Are you open to settling now? And what would it take to settle these?
Like I said, I just want to clear my name and be able to let the facts and the legal procedures continue to play out. So right now, that's all I'm doing is want to clear my name and be able to let all the facts come out in the court of law and be able to focus on that.
Okay, it was interesting. So a lot of the media basically portrayed that answer as he was refusing to settle.
Right.
He
didn't
never
say
said
that.
in that answer,
No.
I am not going to settle. He said, I want to clear my name.
And by the way, even if he did say that, things change, right?
Sure.
You know, we don't know what happened.
Well, we know Busby was steadfast. I'm
Right.
not settling any of these
Yeah.
cases.
Yeah.
And he did. And
So,
Busby's the attorney that represents the women.
I'm gonna tell you what happened. All that happened is this, man. Look, somebody got with him and realized, you know what? When you looking at the situation and people's perception, somebody came to him and said, look, you're never gonna clear your name in certain
Right.
people's mind. You could try to live your life and say, I'm gonna be clear. I always talk about it. Nowadays, even on fast and hard facts, people still take L's. Somebody will argue with you in the grocery store that the earth is flat. Somebody will argue in the grocery store with you or in the street that the moon landing was faked. You can't
That
argue.
Giannis is the greatest
that
of all
Giannis is
time.
the greatest of all time.
Whoa, don't go there.
Demonstrably false. We all know there's a certain thing called facts, and we have to have facts that count for everyone. To you, Deshaun Watson, some people not gonna like you based on 4 reasons. One, and this is can all things be true? They might not like your allegations. They may not like the fact that you came in and got the biggest contract in the world. Guaranteed. They might not like the fact that you came and got Baker Mayfield's position. They may not like the fact that there's 4 black quarterbacks in the quarterback room. All of these things can be true at one time. The only thing that you can do and you can control is you can get out there and you know what changes people's minds, and this is bad to say, dubs, wins, plays, touchdowns.
Fact.
And somebody got to you and said, look, bro, stop trying to fight with people that ain't never gonna root for you. Talk to the people that might give you another opportunity and admit that you did, this behavior was kind of unbecoming. You can't, either way you go, you're never going to get a lot of people on your side when you say, I slept with this many people in a place of business. People don't like that decorum. But at the end of the day, he got to the point where the league said, look, if you want to fight it, we can fight the wrong way, the long way. We can give you that indefinite joint. So he said, all right, come on, get these 8. And go ahead and settle this and keep it pushing so we can all get back to the business of doing what we want to do. And I think that's what happened.
I think you hit the target with
Right.
that,
Yes.
G. Bush. I think that is
100%.
absolutely dead on.
And
Great point.
And I think the reality is most of us want to just talk about football. And we've said it a million times. We don't know exactly what happened. We'll probably never know exactly what happened. I'm hoping these other cases get settled. These other 4 women are probably looking for more money.
You think we're headed that way? It feels
I'm
like
hopeful,
Yeah.
yes, but I don't know. I mean, this Ashley Solis who spoke on the show, she hasn't settled. Maybe she wants her day in court. I don't know what's going to happen, but I would think, as we talked about yesterday, what's your dollar figure? We played the Judge J game.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a lot more serious than that, but most people have a number, so it might be higher for those other 4
I
women.
like that. I like that.
But
point.
here's the reality. I know it's 2 versus 24. I get it. But you know what Deshaun Watson was never accused of, which
Rape.
Ben Roethlisberger was? Rape. Exactly.
Absolutely.
That's a whole new ball game.
It is.
And yet when Ben Roethlisberger retired, well, no talk about that.
People was crying with him on the sideline.
He's the greatest guy.
And I never, and to me, I never, I don't, there's certain, I don't like the Steelers, I don't like the Ravens, but at the end of the day, man, I don't root for nobody going to jail. I don't make jokes. To me, I was one on the opposite side of the spectrum. I'm saying y'all get your jollies off by saying, oh my gosh, he got in trouble, but he's kicking your ass every single week. He's destroying the Browns. He's 29-1 or 2. The people that was saying, oh, Ben Roethlisberger, those guys ain't really interested in football. They pom-pom waivers. At the end of the day, Ben Roethlisberger was destroying the Cleveland Browns. He came back, did what he had to do. He's going to be in the first ballot Hall of Famer. And like everybody in their life, when you go back and look at some of the stuff that you did, you won't be proud of it, but you just got a long time to go and that you need to continue to get to it, man.
Ultimately, fans mostly care about what you do on the field. And you're right, there's going to be fans that will never like Deshaun Watson. You don't have to like him. He's got to deal with that. That's his thing to deal with. But ultimately, if he plays well, most of these stories go away. And if they get brought up, it doesn't affect his career. His teammates probably don't care about it.
What's interesting is those stories will go away in Cleveland if he wins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if he wins, the other 31 cities their voices will be amplified every time he comes to wherever, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, wherever.
that's true.
He's going to have to hear about it. But Bull, G. Bush, I love
that's
your
fine,
point.
Jay, because
no, it's fine. I'm sure he knows
we did
that
it to Pittsburgh,
right.
whatever. So
it's
all right.
G. Bush, to your point, I do think it does feel almost like he has come to that place where he's figured out I'll never clear my name. There are some people that are always going to believe that he did something to these women. I want to talk now about, and we had it up on the screen a second ago, Steve, if we can throw that back up there. This was an interesting side to yesterday's story that I didn't think got enough traction locally. We put it in our show, but the AP was reporting yesterday that an NFL source inside the building who wanted to remain anonymous, which I hate, but that's the way it goes. They said that they came right out and said settling doesn't give you a pass. It doesn't give someone a pass. And this was the part that I focused on. This official still said a lengthy suspension remains in order.
Here's what I think is going to happen,
I don't
Jake.
know what lengthy means, but I found that very interesting yesterday and underreported locally.
Here's my conspiracy theory on this. The NFL wants to come off as tough as possible, right? Mm-hmm. So they can convince the people that are angry that they're trying to do their best job.
You bet.
However, they don't want to get into a fight with the players' union over this, and they want this. The start of training camp is a celebration of football. I believe they want this over and settled by then. So what they're going to do is they're going to say, hey, listen, we wanted to give him a longer suspension, but it was going to be a big fight, so we ended up giving him 8 games, and that's it. I have said from day one it would be an 8-game suspension. I still say it's going to be an 8-game suspension, and I think the league keeps putting this out there because they want the public to think they're trying to do more, but their hands are tied.
I think you're absolutely right. Tyvis, does that make sense to you?
8 games is detrimental. Like that's
it
a whole.
is, but
like that's enough to really alter a season.
Rewind before the NFLPA made their unprecedented comment. Remember that?
Yeah.
The NFL, there were sources saying that this is going to be an unprecedented suspension. Well, I don't know how it could be unprecedented because we've seen lifetime bans. So,
who got
Ray Rice?
Did he get an official lifetime ban?
I thought people just decided they weren't going to pick him up. But it was equivalent.
Mine as
I mean,
well. Yeah.
I don't know if it was an official lifetime ban,
but it's equivalent.
Nobody touched him.
Yeah.
Right.
And he was still a productive back at the time of the incident.
Yeah.
One way or another, I don't. How can it be unprecedented? Look what they did to Josh Gordon for smoking weed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think the rhetoric was flying back and forth between these unnamed sources. Camps were releasing information. Yeah. And once the unprecedented came out, the NFL was real quick the NFLPA was real quick to reply, oh, yeah? We've got big missiles that we're willing to launch.
Absolutely.
And they pertain to Jerry Richardson, Jerry Jones, Dan Snyder, and Robert Kraft.
Yeah.
Do you want us to drag 4 corner posts to the league when you look at these guys, particularly 3 of them, Jones
Yeah,
and
Richardson
Snyder.
was kicked out, though.
Richardson's done, but Jones, Snyder, and Kraft are looked at. You know, if you ask the average NFL fan to name 5 owners, I think all of them would name those 3.
Personally, I don't think Kraft belongs with the other 2. His situation, to me, is not the same. The other 2 are systematic.
It's exactly the same. No, it's not the same as Jones and Snyder. But it's exactly the same as Deshaun Watson.
That's a fact.
It involved a massage.
And that's a fact.
But he's not being accused of sexual assault.
No, he's
that's
not.
true.
It's a sex crime.
It's a sex crime. He broke the law. It was caught on tape. I mean, I don't know how.
If Deshaun Watson was just being accused of paying for sex and nothing else, there wouldn't be much of an issue here.
I guess, but you can't look the other way when an owner pays for sex and gets caught on tape doing it.
I think the Jerry Jones and Daniel Snyder comparisons are better.
I'll say this: when I was in corporate America, we had a risk department, right? Risk management. They tell us which one of our accounts is this is risky. This might be a little volatile. You might not make money on these accounts. So risk is, by the way, probably a risk management department in the NFL. They're probably telling them, look, you have 2 opposite ends of the spectrum. You got people who want to see that are very sensitive about sexual assault, maybe women, people in that community. But we also have on these other end the NFL Players Association. So which one of them can you afford to have a dispute about? If you're going to have a dispute with some of these individuals that are women that are about the civil cases, some of them will be mad for a while. Some of them may come back. But if you talk about the Players Association,
You don't want them in
You
there.
don't want somebody digging the skeletons when you already have 2 to 3 investigations still pending, being Flores and John Gruden is another one. You don't want no problems. You just say, okay, well, do we want to come off over hot-handed or heavy-handed? No. Just, let's split the difference. And let's come off like we had a real negotiation and we can get back to some football.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would definitely be the way to
What
go.
happens to the other 4 before we move on from this?
I
You
say
think
they
they settle? I think they settle.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so they had to get their if you're gonna be the face of something, I got to get a little more than what they getting. So
Sure.
I think they want to be compensated.
And by the
probably
way, she was very credible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Solis,
Yeah.
she was very, very credible.
I think those 4 are going to get more money than the
I
others.
think that
yeah.
it sounds like
Absolutely.
they are. And those were probably the cases where I imagine there's a negotiation going on between Harden and Busby behind the scenes. And Harden said, look, you still got 4 aces in your hand. So these 20 are good. We have to get those out of the way.
Yeah.
But I think Busby let him know, just sharpen your pencil for the check on the other 4.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be real money.
Yeah, they
They're going to
definitely-
get him where it
they
hurts
took
for
a
sure.
risk.
All right. Let's do this. And this was a fascinating topic. I think McNuggets came up with this yesterday.
Yeah.
He came running into the newsroom and he goes, hey, listen. I got a question for you.
This is true.
How many postseason games does Deshaun Watson win? And I go, next year? What are we talking about? He goes, career. I go, I don't know. So we had a conversation back and forth. He goes, I want to set a line for tomorrow's show for an over-under on total wins that Deshaun Watson amasses while he's in Cleveland. And he set it on 3.5, right? So that's the over-under line. Over-under Deshaun Watson playoff wins as a Cleveland Brown. Bull, you taking the over?
Way
You got the
over.
under.
Yeah,
Way
that's-
over.
Way over, yeah.
We're all in agreement.
There's
there.
only 2 scenarios where he would not go over. One, he has some sort of devastating injury that just completely, like an all-time injury that derails
Right.
his career. 2, something else comes up where he ends up going to jail in this vein.
Right.
If those 2 things don't happen.
What if he were to miss? And I know this is, at this point, it does
Yeah.
seem like an absolute non-starter.
Yeah.
But what if he was to be suspended for 2 seasons?
I would still.
Then he has 3 to get
I
3.5
can't imagine
wins.
that's going to happen. But even if I had to go with that scenario, I'd still pick the over because here's the thing. I think Deshaun Watson, who's what is he, 25 still?
26?
26.
26.
Yeah, 26, I believe.
I think he's going to be the Browns quarterback for the next decade,
Yeah.
maybe more.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, even if he never went to the Super Bowl, which hopefully he will at some point,
Right.
I still think he wins some playoff games here and there. Now, to be fair, he only has 1 playoff win.
Yeah.
But the roster is currently constituted, and the Browns roster is young. Most of their key players are young.
Yeah.
Is by far the best roster he's played with. I mean, it's not even close, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And he's never had a good offensive line. He's never had a good running back. He did have 1 good wide receiver, a great wide receiver, in DeAndre Hopkins. But that's it. And he's got so much talent around him. The running game, I mean, everything around him.
McNuggets, it appears we set the line too low.
Yeah,
You wanted a comment. What do you got?
Yeah, I should have clarified, and this is 100% on me.
Okay.
When I made that line, I was thinking on this current contract.
I'll
So
still say
on
over.
this
I would
line-
still say over, yeah.
Yeah.
Now let me present some evidence to the jury here. Steve, let's take 20. Overall, the Browns are 17-21 in their franchise history in the playoffs. They only have 1 win since 1995.
Irrelevant.
And I was curious.
It's
I
irrelevant.
just wanted to see how far back did we have to go.
Good Lord,
what
that's all time? That's going back pre-Super Bowl era?
Yeah, all time. And then I did some more
This
research.
was a
Steve,
team that was dynastic once upon a time.
let's cut back. I had to go back to 1987 to find 4 playoff wins for the Cleveland Browns. Steve, go back. No, you were on it. You were on it. Yep, the next
Yeah.
one.
We all know these numbers, but they're irrelevant.
No, I know, but I'm just saying. I set the
Yeah.
line. Steve, let's go to the next one. Yeah, keep
Yeah.
this one here. I had to go back. We set the line at 3.5 for the next 5 years. We have to go back to 1987
Which
to
was
find that same
35
number.
years ago.
So, yes, I should have worded it on this current contract, not
Okay,
in
but
his total Browns
you know what?
career. But
I think,
it is.
I don't know that would have changed it. I think the guys all think that he's going to win
For sure.
4 playoff games over the next 5 seasons.
Even if you
What's
talk-
amazing to me is when
Yeah.
you put that up there, if he does that, it equals the playoff win total of this entire franchise going back 35 years.
Yeah.
We sucked more than I thought we did.
Since they've been in the NFL,
That is hard to look at.
It's
How
almost
many
like
playoff wins does Tom Brady have?
Hold
50?
on, but it's a lot.
I mean, he's got 6 Super Bowls.
So overall, we 17-21 as a franchise.
I guarantee you,
but that includes
Brady's
the-
won more
that-
playoff
that
games.
includes like the 50s and 60s when there was
That's
like 4 teams.
But
and they
we
won
were
Tom
the
Brady
dynasty
is
then.
35 and 12 in the playoffs.
man, I tell you what.
Let that sink in.
Half of the problem is this.
We had the right
When
pieces.
you-
I'm sorry to Cleveland, by the way.
When
And we
you
could have
got-
drafted him 6
And by
times
the way,
before he went
how
to New
many
England.
playoff wins did the Patriots have before Tom Brady?
That's
Not
a-
many.
that's a
I
fact.
don't care.
They
I
went-
don't care.
they
That's
went
a
to the
fact.
Super Bowl.
That's a fact. They
I
didn't
don't
even have
care.
a Super Bowl win.
The fact that Tom Brady has 35
my
playoff
point,
wins,
Jay,
and we have 4
he
in
could
the
be-
last
Deshaun
35
Watson
years.
could be
My
there.
point is, the Patriots were a terrible franchise for a long time, and then they got a great quarterback, and then they weren't terrible.
Well, you're not
The
possibly
Patriots,
saying
for
that
the
Watson's
record,
going to win
have
35 playoff games.
37 career playoff victories as a franchise.
They had 2 before
37.
Brady.
They had 2
Yeah,
before
now,
Tom Brady.
and they weren't
They
around.
went to the Super Bowl.
And they weren't around very long.
By the way,
before.
they went to the Super Bowl, got destroyed by the Bears.
Here's the pro-
55 to 10.
And here's
Tony
the
Eason was the
problem.
quarterback.
And I'll tell you what the exact reason they wasn't winning no games back then. It's the exact reason that we talk about this thing with Deshaun Watson. For so long in Cleveland, we have been so conservative in which the players we pick, what the makeup is, what their background is. The Cleveland Browns been going out here with a half a roster that couldn't compete for the last 50 years. There are people that told you that they would rather.
Well, not 50.
I mean,
In the 80s, they went to 3
were good in
AFC
the 80s.
championship
they was good.
games in the late
They was
80s.
good. They was good. They had good talent.
go
Took it a little
30
bit too
But
far.
30 years. But here's the problem. They was averse to having people with any background character issues. They're averse to anybody that wears their socks high. They're averse to anybody that talks to the media. We want Boy Scouts. Eric Mangini was running around here finding people for bottles of water, and he kept getting jobs. My point is this. If you're not trying to win at the highest levels, they've shamed you into doing the things they did. Josh Gordon, he needs to go. Then Belichick.
Jim
picked him.
Brown wasn't exactly a model citizen.
I need more Jim Browns. Like they tell us, I need more Jim Browns.
I wouldn't say it like that, but I know what you're saying.
They tell us Josh Gordon, hey, you guys need to cut him. You guys need to cut him. And then Bill Belichick picks him up. Everything is all good.
Well, he's not done much.
Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
It's the Patriot way.
I don't know that I
It's a-
agree with you that you
it's a-
can't have Boy Scouts. I don't know if that I want Josh Gordon and Antonio Brown are the guys I want on the team.
Well,
Antonio
very good
Brown.
anymore.
Antonio Brown got your ring.
Wait a
Don't
minute.
hear about-
No, we're
Wait
not
a
Antonio
minute.
Brown.
Wait a minute.
So here's the deal. Let's wrap it up this way because we've got a schedule to stick to, and we want to talk about the Guardians' win last night. But I'll wrap it up by this. With this, the over/under was 3.5, probably low. I'm just going to say this: he'd better win a lot more than that.
Sure.
For $230 million,
He
he
listen.
better.
It's the richest contract in the history of the NFL.
I think they got.
I
the
know
right
you guys
pieces.
disagree with me. If this doesn't end in a Super Bowl, it was a failure. I'm sorry. There are very few.
I
there are
don't-
very
I don't
few trades
disagree
I can
with
say
that.
that about.
I don't disagree
if
with
this
that.
doesn't end in a Super Bowl victory, not let's go and
It's
say
a
we went.
disappointment if he doesn't.
What-
make
I think
the
it's a
Super Bowl.
failure.
What was the trade? How many first-round picks we give up?
3.
Oh yeah, that's called mortgaging your future. So yeah,
What
it has,
future?
It has
They
to,
had a million
it has
first-round
to-
picks.
It
They've
has
been
to work.
useless.
It has to work.
I don't agree.
They've been good on their first round picks the last 5 years.
Last couple of years.
You took. Usually, people say if you take a quarterback in the first round and he don't pan out, that sets you back how many years? They took Baker Mayfield. He was here 4 years. He won 1 playoff game and he went to the divisional round. You can't say that if you trade for another quarterback and he gets you the furthest you've ever gotten in the history of your life,
Not enough.
it's
They
not
wanna-
good enough.
Not
Some
enough.
people want to canonize Baker for one playoff
One
win.
play, but he can get to the Super
Well,
Bowl, and that's
listen,
not enough.
Watson isn't getting
Watson's
canonized
gotta
unless he
win.
puts a ring on their
He
finger.
He got to win it.
To me,
He's got to win
He
it.
has to win it.
You can't have it both ways.
Listen.
You're right.
Listen.
You got to win it.
230 million. Don't nobody care
You made this
about
trade
this-
to bring a winner to Cleveland.
Exactly.
Not a runner-up, a winner.
I understand getting you to the door, But you got to kick the door down.
I agree.
Like,
You
you got to
100%.
kick the door. Because if that's the case, we could have kept Baker Mayfield because he was headed that way.
To me, it's disappointing if he doesn't win a Super Bowl.
The goal is to win the championship.
Of course.
For
That's
sure.
of course it's disappointing.
And this is an all-in move.
Right, and they had no chance of winning it with Baker, and now they do with Deshaun, so that's it.
They have a chance,
In
right?
my opinion.
And if
In
he
my
wins
opinion.
a Super Bowl, everybody can look back at this and say, it's just like bringing
it was all
LeBron
worth
back.
it.
A lot of people didn't want to bring him back.
Right.
He gave us
Well,
the
those people
ring.
are dumb.
It worked.
Wait
a
a minute, who was
once he
against
won the
that?
championship,
Yeah.
then everybody was like, man,
Right.
I'm glad we brought him back. But there were a lot of fans when he came back that said, I'll never root for them again.
Facts.
Where
Yeah.
were they on Father's Day 2016?
Well, they showed him want him back now, and I think
By the
he
way,
would be nice in the Cavs
You and I are going to
uniform.
have the ultimate celebration when Deshaun Watson wins the Super Bowl. Stick it into the face of all the D-bags who didn't want it.
I'll be doing back.
You guys will probably lead the parade, won't you?
We will.
You'll be out there leading parade.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the Guardians. They're in first place, guys.
Yes.
Wait.
Oh,
We got internet responses.
Internet
Oh,
response.
yeah,
To the
internet.
Deshaun Watson question, and because PCC Airfoils loves us and we love PCC Airfoils,
PCC.
we cannot skip
They're in first
what
place,
the
too.
internet is saying. So, as always, if you're looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits, PCC Airfoils is a leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio.
get it done.
All locations of PCC Airfoils in Eastlake, Menor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at $18 an hour. Plus, get a full benefit package, paid time off, and a signing bonus. Apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more.
There you go.
So we asked the internet this same question. How many playoff games will Deshaun Watson win in his career with the Browns? I should have clarified that this was for this contract. Hand up my bad guys.
Terrible
But the answers are still appropriate. Steve, let's cut to the first one here. Joe Becerra.
Wow.
More than 10.
Say it with your chest.
Joe's all in, bro.
Say it with your chest.
12.
He talking about this. This Tom
Let me
Brady
just say,
reincarnated.
this trade is a rousing success if he wins 10 playoff games,
for sure.
by any measure.
And that was for his career. So he answered the question I asked appropriately. Let's
Okay.
go to the next one, Steve. All of them. Undefeated.
Look at Jimmy. Look at Jimmy. Yeah, I said it.
undefeated.
Yes, sir.
Say it with your chest, Jimmy, and he's confident. And we have one more.
That's great.
At least one Super Bowl or the trade wasn't worth
Mr.
it.
Wings
This
is
is
my
what they
dude.
kind of agreed
That's what
to.
they said.
Just
Mr. Wings
saying.
is my
They
dude.
saying.
I would love to do a poll, a scientific poll,
Oh,
not
yeah.
a email poll or an internet poll, a real scientific poll, and find out what Browns fans feel on that topic. Is this trade? Do you have to win a Super Bowl for this trade to be a
Here's
success?
my only beef with that. That almost assumes that if they hadn't made a trade, they would have won a Super Bowl.
No, it doesn't. It's a
Why
very.
if you were going to win a Super Bowl either way, then why is it a bad trade?
You
Because
don't
this
know.
way-
You'll never know if they would have won a Super Bowl
Right.
without him. You'll
Here's
never know
here's
that.
to me the difference. If he's a consistent winner, if he goes deep in the playoffs, if he gets to a Super Bowl and loses, okay?
So-
I'm going to still say the trade was good, but it's disappointing that he didn't win.
I can
That's
see
how
that.
I would look
Yeah.
at
I
it.
can see that. That's
You
justifiable.
can't say it's a bad.
that's
If he's consistently going deep in the playoffs and gets to at least one Super Bowl,
See,
how can you say it's a bad
I
trade?
mean, that's
Here's
justifiable.
where
Yeah.
I don't think you're qualified to say that, and
Okay.
here's why. You're a Bengals fan. You haven't gone through that movie before. I have.
What movie?
The movie where we were really good but didn't win it.
We've been to the Super Bowl 3 times and lost. What are you talking about?
No,
We ain't
you
been.
don't understand the pain of Browns fans of being really good but never getting to a Super Bowl. G. Bush, you do. You were a fan. We talked about this the other day.
It sucks.
I would
I
rather.
rooted
Here's
for
the
a baseball
question.
team that hadn't gone to the World Series my whole life until 16.
I know.
I understand that pain.
Listen, what I'm talking
Yeah.
about is with this franchise.
Yeah.
We played that movie out. We were
Right.
really good in the late 80s. We were picked to win Super Bowls in the late 80s.
Right.
We never got to a Super Bowl.
Right.
Those scars are deep and they're real. And I don't know that I want to go through that again where we're really good, but we just don't get
What
there.
if he gets to the Super Bowl and loses? You gonna say it's a bad trade?
Yeah.
I will say this.
It's an all-in trade,
McNuggets has a very interesting stat here. You'll be surprised to hear how bad the Browns aren't.
Aren't?
Yeah,
aren't.
so here's the internet is brought to us by PCC Airfoils. My paycheck is brought to us by Steve Becker. So when he texts me with stats
Steve did
mid-show,
not
I have to
send
get
us
him
his
in.
pre-show text today. That was a bad job of
Yeah, Steve,
Yeah,
you
come
are
on, Steve.
slacking. And I
So
don't
we're
think so
allowed to
far we haven't done
hit
what
up.
he always tells
Yeah.
us. But it is worth mentioning that although the Browns are 17-21 all-time in the playoffs, the Bengals 8-15 all-time in the playoffs, the Lions 7-13. So it could be worse
Yeah.
for Cleveland.
The
and
those records are irrelevant. By the way, the Bengals.
I get paid by Steve. I get paid by Technic. He
Including
can
the
say
Browns,
that I
they're
can't.
stupid. It doesn't matter what your all-time record is. It's different players.
It's irrelevant.
By the way, the Bengals have either, every time the Bengals have gone to the playoffs in their
35 and 12.
franchise history, have either gone to the Super Bowl or lost in the first round. Every time.
Well, that's fine.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
So if they win a game, they're going to the Super Bowl and they're going to lose.
So far, yes.
I take. Here's the thing. It's all about. I like statistics. It's all about your probability. If you give me a more chance to have ping pong balls in the hopper and give me more of an opportunity to get to the Super Bowl, if you get to the Super Bowl, you got a 50-50 chance.
True.
Right? So the goal is to get there, right? Now, if you're gonna tell me I got a 65% chance with Deshaun Watson and my alternative was staying the road or drafting or going another route, and it was 25% with the quarterback we had, I'm going to take the 65%, and you still have to understand that 35% of the time it may not work, but I'll take my odds.
Deshaun Watson is one of the most talented quarterbacks in the league. The trade was a no-brainer.
If you could take Deshaun Watson, forget that the Browns ever made a trade for him.
Yeah.
And you can go poach the quarterback from any team in the league, who are you taking?
By factoring it off the field?
Nope.
No.
Just on the field?
Just on the field.
If I'm starting.
And it's for one season.
For one season,
I
guess I'd still take Tom Brady.
I would too.
Yeah.
And then I'd take Aaron Rodgers. Joe Burrow might be in my top 5. We say the word elite all the time about Watson. We haven't seen him in a year. And to me, elite is top 5.
Well,
because that's only if you start going any deeper than top 5 is top 15%. I think elite is top 5%.
I would say Deshaun Watson is an elite talent. He hasn't produced the wins to be an elite quarterback yet. He's an elite talent. I think he will produce those.
Based on skill set.
Yeah.
I don't know if I take Tom if I could pick.
I don't know if I take Tom.
Because I think the mobile quarterback would actually make this offense more dangerous. Because you think we had
to do more.
Yeah, for the Browns.
No, I wasn't saying for the Browns.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about for the Browns.
Talent be damned.
Okay.
When Tom went to Tampa Bay, they missed the playoffs the year before.
Oh yeah, I'm taking Tom. Yeah.
Right. The year before, the Patriots made the playoffs and made a deep run. When Brady left the Patriots, the next year, New England missed the playoffs and Tampa Bay won the Super Bowl.
I don't know how you don't say Patrick Mahomes. I mean, to me, it goes Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, we're a little prisoner of the moment.
Yeah, it goes Patrick Mahomes.
I just want the body of work. I want the guy.
I don't know. Tyreek Hill said he liked Tua.
You do understand that he's considered the GOAT.
Who?
Tom Brady.
Oh yeah.
And that's like the one
GOAT
argument.
You said
right.
You said
1 year.
If you said for the next 10 years, and I'm not factoring off field, he would be at worst 4th for me. At worst.
Okay, but to my point, if he's 4th,
at worst,
out of 30, that doesn't that puts him in the top 15%. Not that you'd have to be top 3 to be in the top 10%. And I don't even know if we're going to use the word elite. We always throw that word around. I think elite is top 2. I do. I mean, I know it sounds harsh, but top 3 is 10%. I don't consider the best 10% of anything to be elite.
I think the difference between on the field, Watson, Burrow, Mahomes, Herbert, and Josh Allen, those 5 guys, forget the older guys, the young quarterbacks. I think the differences between those 5 are minimal. I think you can put them in kind of any order. I think they're all elite talents. Now, Watson has proven, Watson and Herbert have done the least amount of winning of that group in the playoffs. Some of that the team around them, to be fair, but those guys got more to prove in the postseason.
And if you raffled them off in that top 5, I'd be fine with taking any of them.
I would take any of them.
Any of them.
Any of them 5.
No clear-cut best quarterback in the NFL among the young
I
men.
agree with G. I would say you'd have to put Mahomes 1, but
I would too if you're going to put it in.
Right.
But
I think it could go.
I think Josh Allen is coming fast.
I think Herbert's coming fast.
I think Joe Burrow here to stay, to be honest with you.
You see how it goes? Like we said, all 3 different.
I think Joe Burrow is the next Tom Brady, and it's crazy to say that.
No, it's not, because what he's done.
And we're ignoring
is that
Lamar
impressive.
Jackson. We're ignoring some other young quarterbacks.
Lamar Jackson isn't in that same conversation.
All right, we've got to get to the Guardians. They're in first place. They won last night. What a win! I think if they go on to win the division, circle last night. Can we get a close-up of Tyvus's hat? If they win the division, you can circle last night as the launching pad. They were up 3-2.
They're 3-0.
They were up 3-0.
Yeah.
Honestly, I thought that Savali pitched a great game. I mean, Savali, we were talking earlier, Savali and Plesac are big disappointments. I think they're both started to turn it around, but they were up 3-2. They gave up a 3-run homer in the 7th.
Yeah.
Franmil Reyes comes in and hits.
Put that bat on that ball.
I think it's the biggest home run that the Guardians have had this year. Ties it at 5. They win it in 11.
Yeah.
And by the way, after Bull singing the praises of Eli Morgan, and I love him too. I love him to death. But as soon as he gave up the home run, I texted Jinx to Bull.
Yeah.
But they won the game. They came back to win. And as a result now, they're percentage points ahead of the Twins in first place. This is a big series. There's a lot of baseball to go here. But
you know what I think?
This is crazy, guys.
I think Bull should root against the Guardians.
Why?
So
I keep picking them to win. They keep winning.
No.
So I've been right on
because you was wrong with the catcher.
What are you talking
Austin
about?
Hedges?
Yeah. And what did he do when he went? You ripped him and he went out there. What did he do?
In one game.
That's
The
fine.
next day, he did hit a home run.
See what I'm saying?
As soon as he
keep
praised
doing it.
Eli
Yeah,
Morgan,
go ahead.
Morgan gives
But
him a
I've been
home run.
ripping them for a month. It hasn't helped them.
Just
Giannis, you're
saying.
making a lot of
Just
the
saying.
Giannis take earlier, you lost a lot of points, but
Wow.
you were building them back
All
up
I
right
do is-
here. bro. You
y'all-
were building them back up right here.
I've got
Y'all go-
every time the Guardians have won, I've predicted it for the past 2 weeks.
Hey,
But
yeah.
here's
Is
the
that
thing. Pretty much. I'm on fire. Went 3-0 again last night.
Is he really?
He is
on
first
twice.
place bull now.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
is first place
So
bull.
here's the thing.
Good bet, bad bet
The
coming up
reason
later
that
in the
was so
show.
big is because Franmil Reyes had a horrendous start to the season.
He did.
And he came off the IL yesterday, and his first 3 at-bats, he looked completely lost.
He really did.
And so for him to come up in that spot after they had just blown the lead, which I know Byron Buxton's a great hitter, but I want to walk Luis Ariz. Well, Byron Buxton's not a great hitter. He's a great talent, and he's got big power. Luis Ariz is a much better hitter, and with second and third, I would have walked Ariz, and I thought that, whatever, but it doesn't matter. But
Well, you set up the double play, and Buxton
yeah,
doesn't hit into a lot of double plays. He's too fast.
To lose that momentum in a big game, the start of a big series with all these good American League teams, to blow it, and then to have this guy who had been so awful hit that big home run with 2 outs. Because if they get out of that inning there, then the Twins go to their closer in the 9th. It could have been a different story. Who knows? That was a huge, huge win, especially when Morgan, as we said, blew it for the first time in a while.
I think the most important thing coming out of this is we talked about it yesterday. Everything around the Guardians revolves around: is the town behind them? Is the city behind them? Are they going to get people to show up? And what role does their winning record and what they're doing now play in that? You guys are having what we call a perfect storm. Now, understand it and embrace it. You're supposed to be in the locker room talking like, hey, we in first place. Let's go ahead and get that first place with the Twins. You got the rest of the schedule coming up where you got Boston. You got the Yankees. People.
The Twins again.
The Twins again. People are excited about us now. You just say Yankees, that should be 30,000. You say Red Sox, that's at least 28, 30,000. If you guys are in first place against Aaron Judge, the Yankees in that lineup, people like me, my wife might say, hey, I heard that the Guardians are first place. I might want to go to that.
I'm
game.
going to the game Friday
I'm going to
night.
that
And if
game.
I'm the
would
Guardians,
I
I'm
haven't gone all
all
year.
in right now. I mentioned it quick yesterday. I'm calling the Cubs. I'm trading for Wilson Contreras, getting a legitimate catcher, one of the 5 best catchers in baseball. I'm getting one of their veteran bullpen arms because the Cubs have a couple of decent veteran bullpen arms that you can get on the cheap. I trade one good middle infield prospect, not their best guy, but a good solid middle infield prospect. The Cubs will give up Contreras and a relief pitcher, and you deepen your bullpen. Hopefully you get Karinchak back. If you can get Ahmed Rosario going, he started to get hot. And if you can get Franmil going and add 1 catcher, maybe an outfielder too, because Miles Straw's been a mess.
Assistant GM Bull. Hey, Cubs? Yeah, this is G. Bush, man. My man Adam the Bull says, you got a couple people on that hotline.
Yeah,
we need all of them. We need all the smoke. Yeah, tomorrow.
I think they bring up a catcher from the minors. Maybe it's Bo Naylor.
Or
You know what? I like how
And I
y'all-
also think that the bullpen is the strength, I think, right now. And I know that you can never have enough.
Never have enough. Extend
I know that.
it. De Los Santos looked good before he lost his command that second inning.
I'm glad
But
y'all
he looked
talking
good.
this catcher stuff. Austin going yard today.
Yeah, well, let's hope so.
Austin going yard.
Guys, let's bring in Aditi. Aditi's on board, and we're not going to talk Guardians with Aditi. I want to talk to you.
Aditi wanted to be a Yankee.
Oh, look at her! Wait, look at her.
I did want to be a Yankee. Adam's got a great story, guys. Jay. I just went on a golf course for the very first time in my life.
That's not true.
Don't take. I hope you held the club.
Well, I did. I didn't break any clubs, but I really want to know, why does anyone like this game?
Because it's hard.
Big facts.
Because it's hard.
Aditi,
Oh my God, it's brutal.
Okay, those that don't appreciate a challenge,
it takes
walk
skill.
away after one swing when you throw your club in the
But
woods.
here's what my problem is. I want to feel like I'm getting better at something. Why is it like one day I'm nailing the ball perfectly and the next day I can't hit anything straight?
Just like life.
That's not
I felt like that too.
Get better.
I felt
yeah,
like.
but okay, so even baseball players, football players, they have days. Baseball players go 5 for 5. The next day they go 0 for 4 and strike out. Does that mean they walk away?
Well, that's a skillful.
No, but then they get to play again the next day. Or
And
at
same
least
with
they get
golf.
another at bat. I don't know. I'm not sure this
did you
is for
play
me.
18
I'm not
holes?
sure I have the mindset for this.
This is really the first time you've ever played the sport?
Yeah.
That's
It was the
mind-numbing.
fourth
to me.
time I've ever hit balls in my life, and I went out on a course for the first time.
What is
I don't
happening?
like sucking, Jay.
What
I
is
really
happening?
don't like sucking.
I mean,
Can we put that up on the bottom of the screen? I don't like
No.
that's not. Yeah, you're right.
Well, I didn't mean it that way. Actually, don't do it that way.
I mean,
I don't like being bad at anything.
you're
And
becoming
so,
very
you know,
hoity-toity
I
here.
don't like I'm signing up to be bad.
No, I get it. I
tennis,
get it.
golf.
It's hard.
What's next? You're
I
gonna
love
play
tennis.
polo? I mean, what's
Love
happening here?
Don't feel bad, Aditi.
Tennis.
Listen, you didn't. If you held the club on your first swing and didn't throw it, you above
Did
me.
you see Tyvus
So you,
Not
Wait.
top 10 on SportsCenter.
it gets no worse than what I did.
Wait, I have another story for you. I tried another sport for the first time yesterday. I went fishing with Kenny Pickett.
Okay.
Oh, well, that's not.
That's not a
And,
sport. That's an activity.
I guess. Well, you don't think casting is a sport?
No,
Like, you don't-
look. It's an activity. Some will argue with me, but it's an activity. Anything
and
that you
it's
can
funny,
do
'cause
while
we
you're
had a
sitting on your ass and
conversation.
drinking beer is an activity.
Well, no, if there had been beers on the boat, it would have been a better endeavor. But it was
You're
there weren't
absolutely
beers
right.
on the boat. And okay, so then we had this conversation about using worms versus using lures. And
Okay.
Kenny said it's more athletic to use the lure because you're kind of like shaking the rod. Whereas if you just have a worm, you just kind of hem the rod in there. So I thought that made sense, right?
I don't know.
I'm always.
I don't know about any of
I've
this.
never gone fishing in my life.
Wow.
Is this not where you wanted to go?
I used worms back when I was younger, and I
It
was
depends what you're
so.
fishing for. If you're fishing for walleye, you want a lure. If you're fishing,
Yeah, I guess you. Yeah, I guess
So
you got a
it
point
all
there.
depends on what you're
Tyvus,
going
you
for.
use
Did you
worms.
catch
Is
it?
that why your hands are so slippery when you golf? Is that
Yeah,
is this why this
Yeah,
happened?
Here it is, Aditi.
Don't look at it. Close your eyes.
You can't
am I
unsee
watching?
this.
You know how. Listen, it was edited. Don't believe that. It was edited.
It was CGI.
and that's some nasty water over there, too.
Man,
And Aditi, that made it onto SportsCenter's not top 10. It was number 6. I thought it should have been higher.
I reached out to the guy. He said that the club is gone and is never coming back.
It wasn't even his club.
It was.
What happened? Was
You
it
know,
resetting?
so let me tell my story. So,
All right, I'm listening.
it was hot that day. It was very hot.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's hot today. It's
And
93 today.
I had no intentions on golfing at all. Like I said, I don't golf, so therefore there's no point in me golfing. But it was a celebrity event. It was for Nationwide Children's Hospital, and I'm for the kids. You know, who am I to rob these kids, right? So I'm gonna go out there. Guy pays $50. You take a shot, okay? So I said, all right, bet. I don't have a club, so he was like, you know what? You can use my club and you can use my ball. I said, okay. All right, so I stepped back, get me a couple swings in, get my Tiger Woods on. Now, I seen Tiger do it just like this. Get a couple swings in. They like, Tyvus, it looks good. Just keep your eye on the ball. I said, all right, now it's game time, Aditi. Ain't no more practice. We in the thing now. This is serious. And I went to swing, and I didn't make contact with the ball. So when I didn't make contact, I didn't tighten my grip. I left it loose, and If you heard the sound behind it, I had a lot of wind behind that. So
And you broke branches with the.
yeah, it was.
By
So
the way,
that's just what happened. You know.
I just got a text that apparently Tyvus, who says he's for the kids, made the kids go into the water to get the club. That's what the text I just got. That's what I'm hearing.
Bobby Carpenter
For
said
the
that.
kids. That's what he
Listen,
told me.
Bobby said he's gonna pay for the man's club because it's a Callaway club. It's Bobby's fault because I told him I didn't golf, but he wanted me to do it anyway. So Bobby should pay for
All
it.
right, so I've got two. One, Tyvus, you are now officially my favorite because I feel better about my morning. I did not do that.
You know.
Clearly, the morning is framed better. And number two, I can top that story. So I told you I went fishing yesterday with Kenny Pickett. I borrowed a fishing rod from my neighbor across the street. Kenny Pickett broke my neighbor's fishing rod.
What happened?
What the heck you pull out that water?
I'm about to say you
Well,
better.
it was actually, so I cast the lure into a tree. I got like such a great stroke. It went like, woo, all the way into a tree.
Is there video of this?
Yeah, there is video.
You gotta post it so it can go on not top 10.
This video.
So anyway, so I say to Kenny, I'm like, oh, well, I should probably cut the line, right? And he goes, no, just give it a yank. But I'm a little bit nervous because it's not my rod, so I yank it softly. And he's like, no, Aditi, yank it harder. He takes it from me, he yanks it, and the rod snaps. So then I'm like, he just hands it to me. He goes, oh, sorry, it broke. What? So I've never asked for an
Bull,
autograph
get your mind out of the
in my
gutter.
life.
Bull is crazy.
Yeah, so I
Give it a
I
yank.
keep doing it. And
You
I'm
now
not even
realize
doing
what you just said, right?
Y'all out here taking y'all
we
two.
like
Y'all supposed to be friends, right?
Yeah.
You supposed to help her out, man.
Sorry, it was funny.
This is going to be our highest rated interview ever.
There's been a lot of double entendre in this interview so far.
I just felt like I should say pause a lot. Like,
Oh my
It's
God.
11:45 in the morning. Nobody, at least in this house, has been drinking yet, so I don't even know why we're going in that direction.
Because it's Bull.
Bull.
And my mind always goes to the gutter. That's my MO.
All right. Okay.
All
Well,
right.
maybe we should move on to a safer topic.
Yeah,
Is there a safer
so
topic?
are the Browns getting a new stadium? How's about that?
Great
Look at that. Look at that. Look, right?
Attaboy, G-Boy.
No, I
Same
want to know about
people here.
Kenny Pickett.
We don't want to hear about him. We want to hear about this new proposition for this $1 billion state-funded stadium, right?
No, I can't, well, but seriously, about Kenny Pickett.
I mean, all I know is what Brown spokesman Peter John Baptiste released right now. And you know what really helped when you want a new stadium is winning. I think that taxpayers and citizens and companies looking to slap their logo on the side of a big building, I think everybody feels better about that sort of thing when a team is winning and successful and generating a lot of positive coverage in some way. And I think the one thing going for the Browns right now is that they pack their stadium. There's a lot of fan loyalty right now, so it's not as if there's an argument to be made that no one's coming because the place is a dump. So maybe,
Gosh,
you
dump
know,
is kind of hard.
but I trust what Peter is saying, that reports, Peter John Baptiste, that reports about looking for a new site and things like that are false. I buy that. I believe that. And I
But they
think
have-
where
but-
the
but-
stadium is tremendous.
Aditi, he did
Go
admit
ahead.
that the team is commissioned a study to find the feasibility of a new stadium. So, I mean,
But I think that that's always important, right? You always want to sort of stay ahead of the game a little bit. And just
Sure.
because you commission a study
So just 'cause
doesn't
there's
mean
smoke-
that it's happening tomorrow.
I get it.
But I
yeah.
think it's sort of checking out the landscape, seeing what's going on. And I think if you're a smart business person, you're always doing that.
Yeah, look, the lease isn't up until 2028, I believe. So nothing's happening imminently.
Of course. And these things take time. It's not like in 2027 they could just sit here and say, okay, in 6 months we need a new plan. So I
Right.
think that this is a fair process right now. But I also think that the whole process is helped if you're fielding a successful team.
Now, just a quick follow-up. You've been to pretty much all the stadiums, probably in the National Football League. On a scale,
Not Vegas. I'm still waiting to go to Vegas. Can we get a UCCS field trip to Vegas?
That'd be awesome.
Done.
Yeah.
That would be
Done.
nice.
What do you have
Allegiant,
as
yeah.
the top ranked stadiums as far as you look forward to going, and what are some stadiums that are kind of not really on your
Washington.
radar?
Oh yeah, not a fan of Washington. You know what? So this is, you have to ask me like in a different way. As someone covering the game, I love the vagaries of the stadiums in the AFC North. And what I mean is that they're unpredictable. Like, I like natural weather. I like grass. I like crazy winds. I like the idea that you're not in a pristine, domed environment, because that affects the game and how you play. And I love that all 4 AFC North stadiums are on water. I just think that they're such, like picaresque, iconic images in some way. I like that. I thought SoFi was gorgeous for the Super Bowl. I don't know that I love the press box. I think the other question for me, it's like, do you like it as a fan? Do you like it in the press box? Do you like it in terms of the quality of the field itself? I never really liked going to Arrowhead, but I love I love how loud the fans are. I just kind of hate that it's like in the middle of a big parking lot. Like I wish there was something more around it. Yeah. I grew up a Giants fan. I don't really care for MetLife Stadium. I just don't think that, looking at it outside. I do like at MetLife how they have those big scoreboards in all 4 corners. So wherever you're sitting, you don't have to turn. Like if you're sitting in this end zone, you just kind of look up to that corner or that corner. I think that that's really smart. Here's a very, very unpopular take. I don't like Jerry's World. Like that just I think that scoreboard is so outsized. It's just distracting.
It is not. It's not that bad.
I find myself watching the scoreboard instead of looking at the live action
and watching the field.
And if you're going to do that, stay at home.
Yeah. Aditi, I'm curious. Before you, I know you got to go, but obviously you had that time with Kenny Pickett.
I gotta go. You guys are knocking me off for Leroy. Like, let's get that straight, right? I'm being.
We were told you have an 11:58 hard out.
I don't know.
They said you got a hard out.
Wait a second.
I was told that you were going long on the Guardians, so I had to sit here and wait while you talked about the Guardians.
We were out of control. That's a bad job out of us. That's a bad job out of us. But Kenny Pickett, is he going to be the starter, or is it going to definitely be Trubisky?
I think week 1, it's more likely that it is Trubisky. I think that the same way Andy Dalton started the season a year ago, and again, that's not a statement on the career Kenny Pickett will have. I just think that Trubisky right now is really, he's built a great rapport with his teammates. Not that Kenny won't, but Mitch has had a little bit of a head start. He's started in the league for a while. He's taking them all, really, of the first team reps. And I just think that they'd like to give a little ease in to Kenny. And, Kenny's as competitive as they come, but he lived this life. He lived it as a freshman at Pitt. And I will remind you, he was 4th on the depth chart at Pitt. Then he was 3rd. He finally got his very first start at the end of the season against number 2 ranked Miami and upset them.
Yeah.
So there's nothing horrible in sitting for a little while and learning. Just ask Aaron Rodgers, or just ask Patrick Mahomes, or just ask Eli Manning. I don't think it's a death knell if you sit for a little bit as a rookie.
It used to be the way, and now you
now
mentioned
it's rare.
You mentioned some recent guys that have actually, and they've all had success. Like I think it's wildly unfair, because usually if a quarterback's a first-round pick, he's usually going to a bad team, and so you're sticking him out there in a bad situation, and bad things happen. So Aditi, is it true or false?
Just really quickly, Jay. That's something that I just said recently. Does David Carr have a different career if he isn't thrown in there right away behind that awful offensive line?
Tim Couch.
Is he just psychologically in a different place if he's totally
that's an extreme
destroyed?
situation. That's an extreme situation.
Well, but it happens, Bull. It happens. And Tim Couch too. Look what Tim Couch had to come into.
Right.
Tim Couch came into an expansion
team. But don't you think Rodgers and Mahomes would have been good either way? I'm not saying it's bad to sit necessarily.
See, you know what?
I don't know.
But I don't know, because
No,
some
but
of the
Mahomes'
quarterbacks that
dad, even Mahomes' dad said that Alex Smith, and sitting that first year learning under Alex Smith, did so much for his son's growth and development and readiness. I mean, look, and I used this example just on local radio earlier this week. Ben Roethlisberger was on the sideline in year 16 of his career. He destroyed that elbow, and so he spent the whole season on the sideline wearing a headset. And in year 16, he said that was so valuable. Just listening to how the plays were called in, what was processed, watching the field in a different way. He said that helped him in year 16. So you're a brand new rookie in the National Football League. Why is this a bad thing?
Exactly.
I don't know. I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
How many quarterbacks have washed out of the league because they didn't have the opportunity to learn and watch and grow? They were put into a bad situation, and then it was all of a
Right,
sudden
but there's plenty,
bad pick
but there are
out of the
plenty
league.
of first-round
Right.
picks
Gone.
who did not play right away, and also I don't think there's a direct. I don't know that we have a direct correlation where if you sit, you're definitely going to be more successful, or all teams would do that.
I don't think there's
think
a
it's- yeah.
direct correlation, but to
I
Dean's
think-
point, it's absolutely beneficial.
I think y'all all
It's
missing.
beneficial.
I think y'all
What are we
missing the
missing?
big picture. Don't trust quarterbacks that wear gloves.
Did he wear gloves while fishing yesterday?
He did not, and he had no problem holding a fishing rod.
Just
and
saying.
you know what? Like, it's fine. He can hold
know
a
what they
football.
say
He can
about
hold a
quarterbacks with
football,
small
all
hands?
that.
I don't trust quarterbacks that wear gloves.
All right,
Yeah.
guys, tell me what I said hi.
Wait, you want to leave? I thought you wanted to stay.
I mean, whatever Leroy says, Adam's going to turn. I just feel like I've already put my foot in my mouth way too much. See, there he is. He's ready.
Just
Leroy,
look at
you
it.
be
Look at
careful.
By the way, you got a funny look on
He
your
got
face
the
right
grin
now.
on.
I know. He's just
I
like,
don't
whatever.
know what you five have gotten yourself into,
Yeah,
but holy smokes.
yeah.
All I know is never trust a quarterback that uses gloves. Man, come on. Clearly, you've never thrown a football when it's 5 degrees.
Come on, man, don't do that.
I'm just saying.
Listen,
I'm
you know
just
what?
saying,
You
it's
know
like-
what? You know what happens? You put a glove on the opposite hand, but you still keep the one free. That's why you wear the thing. You wear the little pouch.
The warming pouch.
Aditi has to
The
run.
fanny pack?
Aditi, we'll see you
The
tomorrow.
fanny pack.
Leroy,
Oh, the
do you have a
fanny pack.
blanket?
It's a fanny
Are you
pack.
on a blanket? You're in Miami.
Yeah, man. I'm old. It's hot down here. I gotta keep that AC on right.
Yeah. You got
Hey, you know what, Leroy? You keep up with any college recruiting?
I have here. I have a thought. I have a thought on college recruiting,
Yeah.
and here's what it is. There's people in the NFL getting paid millions of dollars to pick players, and most of the time they're absolutely wrong. I'm gonna take that a step lower and pay attention to that.
Just saying.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just saying the
I'm
Buckeyes.
just saying, too.
The Buckeyes are having a really good week in recruiting. I thought I'd update you. You know, because you know, I know y'all living off the high.
Let me know when they
Five-star
get on.
receiver.
Let me know when they get on the field.
Oh, we will.
We
That is
definitely
fair.
trust me. You'll know when they get on the
Now,
field.
yeah, wide receiver hasn't been a problem for Ohio State. But to Leroy's point, I find people's obsession over college recruiting with this
It's
one exception,
ridiculous.
it's absurd and annoying.
5-star athletes.
You know what? You know what? Hold on. The team up north people would consider that be absurd. That's why y'all been for the past 10
No.
years.
But
Because y'all
the
don't pay
fans
attention to it.
The fans' obsession with high
Hold
school
on.
players is creepy.
Hold on.
It's creepy.
I got an example down here. Miami had the number one recruiting class years ago with all these kids from Miami. Was it Northeastern or Southeastern or whatever, right? 7 guys came from that high school, which was number one in the country, came to Miami. Miami had the number one recruiting class. And you know what? Crickets.
It's
You know why?
It's a development
Because-
thing.
Is it?
Yes. Yes, it is. It's not
You
talent.
can't develop no talent.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
I'm just saying, look.
They gotta have some type of talent if they was being recruited.
And here's the same thing when college kids go to the pros. You can be dominant at the lower level. But when you step up and move up to that next level, that's a true test of whether you fit in or not. And just because you were great at the previous level doesn't mean you're going to be successful at the next level.
No, but
Just
it
because you were
increases
great
the
in high school
chances.
don't mean you're going to be great in college.
That's a fact.
It
But
just increases the chances.
Now, I will say this, man. I will say this. I understand y'all have a rivalry, but
don't get in between this.
But for the last 5
Yo,
to
hey,
10
be careful. You seem like you're getting ready to. You seem like
what I need
say what you gonna say.
What I need to know.
Yeah.
What I need to know is how do y'all close the gap
there is.
on the Georgias and Alabamas of the world? Because I need.
Whoa, wait a minute. First of all,
I need to close that
hold
gap.
on. Wait a minute. First of all, we're not that far off.
Okay.
We're not that far off. If everybody last year, the number one game that everybody wanted to see was Ohio State's offense versus Georgia's defense. We were robbed of that due to that guy's team. But outside
Ohio State individually is not far off, but as a conference.
the conference, the conference is totally different. I'm talking
They're not light years ahead. I'm just saying.
Everybody's all Georgia, Alabama, and Ohio State is all.
I'm not worried about the Ohio State. I'm not worried about the Ohio State offense. I'm worried about the Ohio State defense.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
But they're gonna drop 70 every week, so it doesn't matter.
No, it does matter. It matters when,
you get into the championship game.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem. And this is the great thing about conference play. In order to get to that next level and get to the playoff and be considered for a national champion, you have to play the style of football that gets you out of your conference. And then when all those styles clash, that determines where you fit in amongst the elite in the country. Mm-hmm. Now, what happens is that Michigan got so tired of 3 yards in a cloud of dust, or big boy football, as the Big Ten is known to do, that they brought Rich Rod in. Yeah, and he said, we're going to bring this Big 12, Pac-12 type of offense and defense in, and you couldn't even get out of the conference.
Got it handed to him every week because the conference was big and they dominated.
Right. So if I try to compete with Georgia, I'm not going to get past Ohio State. You understand what I'm saying? All you can do is win your conference and hope that the style of football you play is good enough that you can compete with these other teams. But if you go into your season trying to compete with the Georgias and Alabamas, you're not going to get out of the Big Ten Conference. And that's what happens to the Big 12. That's what happens to the Pac-12. That's what happens to the Big Ten. Now, I'm going to give y'all some credit as far as this.
This breaking news.
The only team in the Big Ten in the last 10 or 15 years that has proven they can do both with the style of offense they have and with the pass rushers and the defense that they've had in the past is Ohio State.
Yeah.
Go Bucks.
So and they haven't had a ton of success.
See how you take your kindness for a league this week? You was trying to get that man his prize, and he did you like that.
I didn't need you.
It's like saying amen. You know how somebody says amen? Go Bucks.
I gotta say,
it never happened again.
I gotta say,
it never happened again. You sit there, go bucking me. I'm just telling you right now. I'm trying to do the right thing.
It's an unbiased opinion. I appreciate it.
As the most neutral observer.
But I don't need you cheering. I don't need a cheer squad.
Leroy, here we go. As the most neutral observer, because I didn't give a rat's ass about college football growing up. Couldn't care less. In New York, nobody
didn't even know it was
Tell it like it is, boy.
Nobody cared about college football.
Tell it like it is, boy.
There was no interest in college football growing up. It was baseball, NFL, college basketball. That's all anybody cared about in New York.
Why? Because you're from New York?
Yeah, nobody cared.
But that's why.
Right, nobody cared.
It would make
so I don't have I worked. My partner was Ohio State, so I rooted for them. But I have family that went to. But wait a second. But I have family that went to Michigan. I do have family that went to Michigan. Okay, and my producer on the radio is a Michigan guy too.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm a neutral observer, and I think it's obviously Ohio State has, opened up a gap in the past decade plus. There's no doubt about it.
Yes.
We know that. But I think Ohio State fans, and especially former players, the classy move is to give Michigan their props for getting a win.
Yeah.
And then when you kick their ass this year, if it happens, which I think it will, but who knows?
Leroy
Then you just give it to them again.
We gave them
but
props.
you got to give them
I'm
their
about to
props.
say, 100%. I said they came up there and they showed up and they showed out. They was the more physical and dominant team, and they deserved to win that game.
I did
say that.
You ain't got to lie. You
better.
Wow.
That is the most credit you have given Michigan.
I call it
we've
like
been doing this.
Wait a minute. I call it like I see it now.
Do you?
I do. And you know what? You know what the thing is? You know what happened? What camera is
that?
one?
You have a blankie on your
listen.
on your lap?
This is what happened. The problem was they overlooked the Big Ten, like you say. They had their minds on the Georgias and the Alabama, but you know what, Leroy? You know what they looking at this year?
Michigan.
They looking at that team up north game, and that's all that really matters right now. Is that team up north game, and you better believe they going for 100 if possible.
Can you get out of the Big Ten without beating Michigan or Ohio State in that game?
No.
Well, I want to follow that up. You got a lot of Ohio State, Michigan guys here. What do you guys think about the realignment? They talk about the realignment and possibly switching the conference up a little bit.
Love it.
Do you think that you should set it up where Ohio State and Michigan can have a rematch in the Big Ten championship game?
Yep.
Here's what sucks about this, is that you want to ensure that you play Ohio State every year, right?
Yeah.
But in order to do that,
it's going to happen.
In order to do that, without it being for the Big Ten championship, you are giving someone else kind of a free pass because you know Michigan and Ohio State going to bump heads at the end of the year. And that's unfortunate, but that's really the only way to ensure that Michigan plays Ohio State. You can't split them up, because if somebody slips up, then that game never happens.
Well, no,
So,
they still play in the
although I
regular
do-
season, even though they're in opposite divisions. You still have to play them. That's a game that will
Right.
never not happen in the regular
So
season.
they could possibly play. You know what? Here's what I think is going to happen in college football, and this is the honest truth. All these teams are joining up in these conferences. Teams are leaving or whatever. There's 5 Power 5 conferences, right? Those 5 should get bids. There should be 3 at-large bids. One of them definitely goes to the highest-ranked non-Power 5 team.
Right?
And
other
then
two come from
the
the other
other ones
conferences.
go to the next highest-ranked in all the conferences.
Yeah. That's
And-
like my
and
plan,
that way
except for I had
there's-
7 at-large
Yeah.
bids.
There's no like figuring it out. You don't have to vote it in. It's clearly definitive, and then you go from there.
Well, the only
Right,
thing is,
but-
those at-large bids, there would still be selections of those teams. I know the highest-ranked
Not
non-BC.
necessarily.
Yeah, because
Not
what
necessarily.
if Alabama doesn't make the conference game? They had a 1-point loss in the regular season, and the same thing happens to Ohio State and another
Because they'll
team.
be
Then
the
how
highest
do you pick?
The highest ranked. The highest
Okay, but
ranked.
again, the
at
rankings
large-
that's human. You have humans that are picking that.
Well, you're gonna use.
They need
you
to
can use
expand.
you can use the digital version. What the BCS
No.
rankings?
No, because that's a combination of computers and polls. So as long as you have the
but
polls
you
in
have
there,
to find-
you have the
here's
Notre
what I
Dame
want.
bias that always creeps in there.
Hold
You
on.
have the big
First of
school
all-
bias.
First of all, let me say this about Notre Dame.
Overrated.
I'm gonna get serious.
Say it.
Overrated.
Notre Dame, join the damn conference.
Yep.
We tired of this. Don't pick and choose. Don't come to the ACC and say we gonna play ACC games, but we not in the ACC. Pick a conference and go with it, because guess what? They tired of you being independent. The world is tired.
They're
Let's
overrated.
go. Let's compete for a conference championship in some conference. You pick, but pick one.
They better pick the.
Come play in the Big Ten
I'm
for
about to say
a
they
while.
can play in the Big Ten for sure. We could kick. Who at the bottom of the Nebraska, Maryland.
That's the only time.
Rutgers.
If Notre Dame was in the Big Ten, we'd all the other teams that hate each other was get around the campfire and sing Kumbaya and help each other beat them. I'm telling you.
Leroy, let's talk some Browns here. Yesterday, obviously, the announcement that 20 of the 24 cases against Watson have been settled. Hopefully, the other 4 soon. It looks like we'll have an answer soon. What was your reaction when you heard that news?
I was a little bit happy and discouraged at the same time. And I was happy that he's trying to get through this. Discouraged is that most people are going to think this is a sign of admitting guilt. Right?
Yep. Yeah,
and
sure.
sometimes when you get into a situation where the drawn out aspect of it, which is what the plaintiff's lawyers want to happen. They want it to last so long. They want to get as many people as they can in the civil suit in hopes that you will settle. And that's kind of what happened. Now, my thing is this. You can't settle with not 4 because, like, it's still, you're still going through the same stuff.
Yeah.
And 4 is still a big number, right?
It is.
So I don't know how this is going to play out, even though he settled with 20 of the women, right? That you still have the 4. And I don't know how people are going to look at that. I really don't. So I was glad that maybe we're getting this behind us. Maybe he's getting it behind him. But I was a little bit worried that there's still 4 people and you're still going to have to go through this process.
And the league was quick, Leroy, to come out and point out exactly what you just said. They were very quick to say, an unnamed source told the Associated Press, just because there's a settlement doesn't give you a free pass. And that same person added that a lengthy suspension is still in order. Do you believe that this changes at all what the NFL punishment was going to be and what it will ultimately be?
No, because to a lot of people, a settlement means you're admitting guilt. That's just the way it is. Like, most of the time, most people settle because they don't want to go through this process. And they don't want certain aspects of whatever's going on to be in court. Even if it's right, wrong, indifferent, if you're guilty or not, you don't want it even talked about. So you settle. I would not have settled unless all parties were involved.
Now, Leroy,
you see what I mean?
Well, the thought is that those other 4 are currently being negotiated. Yeah. And the thinking here is that they'll all be settled before the NFL hands its punishment down, which is expected to be sometime around the 1st of July.
I agree with Leroy, though. If they weren't all going to settle, I wouldn't have settled. For me, if I'm Watson, I wouldn't have settled these 20 unless I was pretty confident the others were going to settle as well.
Yes.
Yeah, you want that
because
announcement.
the other four are going to hold out for more because you settle with them, and now they're the last 4 hanging on, so they can hold out for more money. Or
I think you're right.
To put the screws to him a little bit more.
Leroy, let me ask you this question because I think this is, in my synopsis, I don't think he had it. I don't think he had a choice. I think the moment that they started talking about the Houston Texans, the NFL sat down with Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns and said, hey, look, we can do this the right way or the wrong way. We can go indefinite, and it's going to get ugly for all parts interested. Or you can settle these in a timely fashion, and we're going to give you this amount of games, right? You take this and keep it moving.
If he had negotiated that, so he already has an idea of how long it's going to be, then I would 100% agree with you. Okay?
We don't know that, though.
The NFL coming out and saying you settling doesn't change where we coming in at on this means that clearly nobody had that conversation with the NFL.
Or it could be covered. We can never tell you that. That can never get out. But we're gonna say, listen, this don't got nothing to do. If he still got cases, we not lenient. They gotta look at it, make it look certain way. But for me, it just made sense because it was almost, if you take a look at his comments, it says, all right, well, I'm going to clear my name. I'm clearing my name. I'm innocent. I'm steadfast. And then all of a sudden, it was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just, here's 20 of them out the way. Let's work on the next 4. I asked myself, what was the catalyst for the change of heart?
Yeah, you got a point. You got a point that something may have motivated him. Now, my question is this. Why let it go this far?
That's a good question.
Yeah, great question.
Why not negotiate a settlement with all 24, and then the announcement is no more pending lawsuits.
Right.
The cloud is gone. Yeah. Now the next phase is punishment from the NFL.
I think we all want this behind us. I mean, it's, for us.
You can only imagine what Deshaun wants.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
You would think.
And maybe he's cool as a cucumber, but I bet you inside he got to be a monkey juggling knives.
Well, he admitted last week.
I would be so stressed.
Well, Leroy, he admitted last week that he's been seeing counselors for this, and he was. So when he answered the question, he said he's been remaining in counseling. I think some thought that might be that he seeked counseling because he has some sort of a problem.
Oh, he did the old Tiger Woods?
Well, no. I think the way he said it, it left it vague, and they cleaned it up later. The counseling that he's been seeking is to deal with this emotionally and psychologically. This is taken as it would on anybody. Anybody that's under this cloud. Even if you're innocent, he wakes up every morning and this is the first thing he thinks about, and he goes to bed at night and this is the last thing on his mind.
Everybody should be in counseling. It's
finality.
good for your brain.
I have a question for you, Leroy. Last week, the NFLPA basically decided, okay, we're gonna fight with fire too, and they preemptively released a statement that said I don't know if they released a statement. They threw a source. They told a reporter that if this thing ends up being severe, we are going to fight it vigorously, and they specifically brought up that there's two tiers of justice. There's a tier of justice for the owners and for the players. And they actually mentioned Jerry Jones, and they mentioned Robert Kraft, and they mentioned Daniel Snyder. And today, I saw this morning that there's a report that has been leaked, I don't know by whom, that this Dan Snyder investigation into the allegations against him, it's a tough read. It's a very tough read. So it looks like they might have already taken the gloves off and fired the first salvo. Do you think that's a wise move from the NFLPA to sort of put that crowbar in this circumstance here to let the league know you better be careful because you've got a lot of dirty laundry in your closet and we're going to put it out on a line for everyone to see?
Here's the more important thing. Okay? Roger Goodell works for the owners.
Absolutely.
I can't fire my boss. And in fact, I need to be careful with how I penalize my boss. Because when my contract is up again, I don't want him to round up all his buddies and get me out of there. So it becomes real tricky when we realize that the owners employ Roger Goodell. So how do you penalize them? You basically have to go and ask all the other 31 other owners, hey, is this okay? Is it okay if I do this? We need to do something about this.
I'm going to force one of the owners to sell his team. Are you good with that? Because they're going to be looking at it saying, if they did it to him, what could he do to me if I slip up somehow, some way?
They catch my G14.
So it's a terrible precedent to set for the owners.
Jay, it's an incredible thing, accountability.
You aren't kidding.
Some of us have to live by it, and some of us get a pass.
Rich people get
I don't
pass.
know who determines that. I don't know. And so part of the problem with everything that everybody has with the NFL, okay, and you guys tell me if you agree. Part of the problem is that it's very inconsistent with how they hold people accountable.
Yes.
Fact.
And so that seems to be the problem that the NFL has in all these cases. It's not necessarily that you're penalizing somebody who damages the shield. It's that how you penalize them and how much you penalize them is not consistent with everybody who threatens the shield. So if you have that much pride with the shield, how things go, or whatever, then be consistent with it. There's nothing wrong with that.
Let me ask you a question then, because for years, there were citizens that looked at internal reviews and said, well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
How are you going to look into some wrongdoing amongst your family and then go outside the family and tell everybody what really happened? So we kind of looked at that internal review process as crooked from jump. If that's the case, does the NFL need to employ or does there have to be some sort of entity that's completely outside and autonomous of the NFL that handles all of these situations for owners and for players to make sure that nobody's getting an unfair shake?
Owners would never agree to that.
Well, listen,
No,
but the owners, and I bring this up, Leroy. Wait a minute, Leroy. I know what you're going to say. Why would the owners ever agree to that? The owners have something called antitrust exemption, and Congress has in the past threatened to take that away. So
But they didn't.
They haven't yet. But you know what? They like to leave that out there on the table. They like to leave it on the table.
So,
That's the real elephant in the room.
Hey,
Congress got involved with baseball.
Congress can't even get January 6th right. Let alone antitrust.
First of all, hold on. First of all, it's baseball, okay?
America's
It ain't
pastime.
football.
Yeah, I got it.
Right. And so from that standpoint, there's a different, how you view football is a little bit different. But I'll say this. Why on earth would you hire somebody outside to govern you?
They just did that.
Right.
Sue Robinson was
But she
appointed.
can get overruled.
Yeah, but here's the problem. I mean, to Leroy's question, the league got tired of taking so much flack for penalties that were either too lenient or too harsh. So they said this. They went to the players' union. They got their heads together and said, let's just agree on an outside person. That person is Sue Robinson. So she's handling the investigation.
For the players.
And she's right.
Say that.
Yeah, but hold on.
Say that.
For the
owner
players.
too. No, Leroy, you're wrong.
She's making for the players, but she's always making recommendations.
Leroy, you're wrong though, because the same situation was in play for Dan Snyder, and it was an outside person, and she also recommended to the league that Snyder sell the team.
What happened?
They didn't care.
And it didn't happen.
I just said, nothing.
Hold on.
So why
She
should her
suggested-
punishment, if you're not going to have that?
Who's the owner of the Washington Commodores?
What?
Dan Snyder.
Dan
Who's
Snyder.
the owner of the Washington Commodores?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
Snyder.
So she suggested.
Right.
And they said,
So yeah.
Nice
So
try.
why even have that person there?
Exactly. It's a waste.
So why?
You know why?
So that's my point. It's
For the
it's-
same reason why Deshaun Watson is going to get a severe suspension and nothing, and guilt or innocence is not even in the equation.
Facts.
Because it's the optics of it. Now, if you're going to do something with the players and say it's the optics of it, it's the shield, it's all this.
Then it has to go to the owners too.
The farther you go up the food chain, the more severe it should be, because they should know better.
I agree. They should be the ones that set the standard. The owners.
In this country, it works the opposite direction.
And that's my
Right.
whole point.
Get penalized.
My whole point is, it can't continue that way if the play. And it seems like the Players Association, for the first time, is really ready to fight back because the league is going to tell the Players Association, you're going to bring this whole thing down by putting this dirty laundry out.
Good.
You're going to bring
Bring
the
it all
whole
down.
thing down. Well, do you really want that?
No, not at all.
And neither do
But
the
bring it
players, and neither do the owners.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying, if you want, it's the optics of this suck.
Yeah.
And if you put a person like Sue Robinson in, and you're not going to listen to her, whatever her recommendation is,
Which they're
then
not.
it's toothless. It
Yeah,
doesn't mean
right.
anything. That's why I'm saying they need somebody outside of football with no strings attached.
Well, let me give you this. We talk about the word privilege a lot, right? Privilege is his thing in his life. Daniel Snyder has an offer, right? An offer, and to come speak to one of the most strongest body. He got come to Congress and talk. Me and Tyvus, one of y'all,
subpoena.
it ain't gonna be no. Please come up and show
Throw
up.
people in jail.
They come get you. They knock on your door. They said, "Mr. Bush, come on down. We got some questions for you." They're asking him, "Would you please come in front of Congress and if you feel like it today?" The privilege word is that the highest parts of it, and the NFL Players Association has to understand. Association has to get this. Do you know how many players get massages?
All of them.
Do you know how many players interact with outside staff at different places with women, right? A lot of times.
All of them.
If it takes this to say, only allegations. Anybody can say you did this. And the suspension is a year or indefinite, the Players Association has to say it's too much exposure. Our players are meeting with masseuses. Our players are doing with doctors. Our players are dealing with staff and media and women in the media. They cannot have this where it's a blanket. If somebody says something, you have no recourse.
It's a bad precedent.
It's terrible.
It's a bad precedent.
I agree with everything. I think we need to have some fun with Leroy. This has been a heavy subject for 30 minutes. Let's have some fun here.
Can I add this? Let me add this real quick.
Wrap it up.
One of the things I hated about being a professional athlete was I couldn't be a man, right? That means you get in certain situations, somebody come at you the wrong way, he's supposed to be dealt with. But the reason why he coming at you that way is because he know you can't do nothing. Otherwise, you're going to get in trouble.
So
people
true.
try.
That's a fact.
So
And
true.
We live in a country that has for-profit jails. There's poor people in jail. It's insane. It's insane. But here's the most important question. Let's have some fun here. My gosh, it's so serious. It's depressing. Everything sucks. There's no doubt about it. But here's the thing. Your former Browns teammates of yours, you're doing the Oklahoma drill. Pound for pound, who would be the toughest competition for you? Pound for pound, former Browns teammates, who would be the toughest fight for you in that? In your prime.
Oklahoma.
I would say, just because of, I have never met a man with as skinny legs as he had, but he had a house on his shoulders, and he could hit you with a pinky and he could hit you with a 2x4. That's Pepper Johnson. I can't explain it. He used to play, and I didn't like playing with him. I didn't like playing third games with him. I didn't like playing, packets with him because he was just too hard. And that's coming from me.
Yeah.
Man.
Right? Because I ain't afraid of nobody on the football field. I don't care if I get knocked out. That was just my nature.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't run away from nobody. So every time I carried the ball, it was a collision and a confrontation. Okay? I went into games thinking this. But in practice, Pepper would just come and give you a little wing, and it felt like you got hit by a truck, dude. I can't explain it.
Wow.
When I was in Minnesota, there was one guy that you guys see him on Sunday, but I dealt with him every day. And that dude had the same energy every day, and that was John Randall.
Man.
John Randall. We used to fight all the time because I ain't playing this on Wednesday and Thursday. Stop. But I had to respect him because he was the same way in practice as he was in the game. And you ask anybody who played in the NFL, the frauds. You know who the frauds are. Mm-hmm. The guys who big hitting in practice.
He said,
the guys, no, it's no specific guys because they littered all over the league. The guys that play game day on Wednesday and Thursday and then get in the game and get dumb trucked.
Oh, yeah.
You can't come to me on the sideline and say nothing to me. We've been fighting all week, and then you finally get to play against another team, and then we peeling your ass up off the turf? No.
Put you back in the huddle.
Give us one name.
Come on, give us one name. Give us one phony.
That's a fact right there.
He's thinking about it.
No, I got one worse for you, Leroy. On them walkthrough days, the ones that go 100% off. You be like, what are you doing?
I almost rolled the ankle in flip-flops in the walkthrough because somebody pushed me and I tripped.
Oh, God.
I'm like, what are we doing? I'm trying to give you a good look.
I'm
like, look over there.
And it's always an undersized white defensive lineman with a mullet. It's always that guy. I mean, come on.
Hey, it wasn't a whole bunch of Rudies. Like, that Rudy stuff don't work at the game. Right? But here, I'm going to tell you like this. Yeah. When I first got to Cleveland, and I was a holdout for like 2 weeks. So when I got there, everybody wanted to make a point to let the rookie come in. And see, I didn't care because I play football whenever. You just let me know how we doing this. So, my first couple of plays, bam, 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 bam. I said, oh, we playing football.
Oh, this how you cut it.
It took 2 days. And then the word was passed. We can't do this all camp. Right? Because I never had a problem with it. That I wasn't running around anybody. Right? My football game was confrontation and collision. So if you want to do that, if we need to make a point, just let me know how it is. I don't care. And so from that day on, every time we went into camp the following year, they would tell the rookies, hey, don't be playing games with that dude. We ain't got time for this. Because the young guys, you ain't got to worry about the vets.
They're trying to catch someone's attention.
You got to worry about the young guys that's trying to make the team, that's flying all over the place, right?
That's
trying
true.
to hit people and knock people out.
That is true.
Leroy, here's the other important question.
He was close to giving us a name, by the way.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
You know what?
He don't want no smoke.
He
don't want no
once
smoke.
you get to the NFL,
he ain't giving it.
Once you get to the NFL, there's a level of ability that you have that puts you in the top 1%. For me to then go and then trash a guy that's on the same level as me, that ain't cool.
Yep, you're right. We respect that too.
Leroy, your life's on the line in a street fight, and you have to have a partner with you to fight this ultimate life or death fight. Are you taking a punter or a kicker? You have no choice. You got to have a punter or a kicker as your teammate.
He's dead.
In this life fight. Who are you taking?
I don't know who it is, but I was in Minnesota, and the running back room, you only have like 3-4 guys that could play. All the other guys are special teams. So during the preseason, we hype them up. Go get him, go get him. We had my roommate was Harold Morrow. Get him, Harold, get him. He going that dog. I'm about to light some stuff up. So he went in there. He ran down, and he circled around, and he was gonna knock the kicker out, right?
Nice.
And the kicker
knock his
caught
ass out.
Wind of it, and boom, stoned him, right? Knocked him to the ground. So he tried to come on the sidelines on the other side of the field, and me and Robert Smith were like, "Hell no! Bring your ass over here!"
Trying to circle.
So, yeah, he tried to go on the other side of the field. I'm like, no. What happened, Harold? He said, dog, he played linebacker in
Oh, my God.
No,
he played back in school.
We all hung out last Wednesday. Until this day, all we have to say to him was mention that punter from Philadelphia. Yeah. And he say, dog, why you got to bring up old stuff? It hurt.
That's on your resume.
Leroy, we were
I got one better for you.
We were told not to ask any more questions. We were told not to ask any more questions, but I got to ask one more. How long would you survive in the bear cage with the zoo? In the zoo, at the zoo, in the bear cage against the bear. You're fighting a bear. How long would you last?
About 2 seconds.
About the same amount as you.
Yeah, it's a bear.
Because guess what?
One swipe.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about fear.
He broke the rules for one question, and that's what you asked.
That's it. I thought Leroy was going to tell me he can last 30 seconds.
Let me tell you something about fear.
Yeah.
Fear will make you do some incredible things. And I will have superhuman strength to get the hell up out of there.
Oh, God.
Right?
That's true.
Hey, I've been on the football field and hit my own guy. So I know what fear does. Right? Hey, real quick. So we were playing, I forget who we were playing. Vinny was a quarterback. Michael Jackson was on the team. Vinny threw a pick, right? We all pursuing, but you got to keep your head on the swivel. You got to keep your head on the swivel because back then they could knock you out. And everybody wanted to get on the video.
Oh, yeah.
Decleating you.
Yes,
right?
sir.
So I'm
They
running
wouldn't
up
throw
the
a flag.
sideline.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to cut the guy off. Somebody yelled my name. I saw a flash out my head. Boom! I hit it. We ain't like, hey, we ain't playing like that.
Yeah.
It was Michael Jackson.
You took out your own guy.
Oh, man.
Hey, I tell everybody. We went to the sideline. He said, man, you hit me. Don't yell my name when they shooting.
Did they get a pick six is the question. Was that a pick
No,
six? Okay.
because I took out the whole, I hit him, and he went over, and everybody went out of bounds. But I wasn't getting knocked out. No.
Don't yell my name when they're shooting.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Leroy.
Leroy, I appreciate the picture you sent me last week of you hanging out with the Buckeye Robert Smith. I know you guys were teammates in Minnesota, but
Go Bucks.
Isn't he the one that coined V?
Hey, man. Hey. I'm tired of that time. I'm tired of
That's
that.
just what I say. I'm sorry. I've been for 4 years of my life. Like that's all. We ended everything with Go Bucks. Like you do interviews, Go Bucks. Like it's just
that's how it goes.
It's in my nature. Sorry.
Thanks, Leroy.
Hey, man, we holler at you.
We'll see you next week, brother.
All right,
Always
Playboy.
good, Leroy.
I think Robert Smith was the first Buckeye to
I never
say
heard that.
the Ohio
Had
State
you ever
on
heard that?
TV.
I'm not sure.
The
Let's
Ohio
check
State.
that. I think he was the first one to say it on TV.
We'll look into that.
I think
we'll look
so.
into that. But right now we got to do top 5. We got to pay some bills. We got to do top 5.
It is time for the Ultimate 5, which, as always, is brought to us by Roundstone Insurance. The Ultimate 5 is sponsored by the one and only Roundstone Insurance, which offers a better alternative for affordable and quality health care. For more than a decade, Roundstone Insurance has been saving small and mid-sized businesses money, an average of up to 20%. Yeah, 20%. Contact us today to learn how you can get great health care benefits that your employees will love and save money too. And today's Ultimate 5, in honor of tomorrow's NBA draft, is the worst 5 draft picks since the year 2000.
Because you don't remember the NBA before that.
Facts.
It was too long.
I can't wait to see this list.
I'm not gonna remember. There's gonna be guys that probably are bad that we won't even remember.
No, you guys know all these names.
Darko definitely in there.
All right, who you got? Who you got? there,
Anthony
Mike?
Bennett
who's your
ain't
number
in there.
5?
All right, let's start with number 5.
It's flawed.
Tyvis mentioned this earlier. Kwame Brown. He was the number 1 overall pick, but get this stat. His wins over replacement for his career, negative 0.4.
Wow. He stuck around for a long time, but he was never any good.
He played for 12 seasons.
Yeah.
He had Kenny Pickett. He had small hands.
Yeah.
He couldn't grip the ball.
Couldn't catch anything.
Hey, man, I can't
He
talk
had
about
feet for
another
hands.
man's hands.
That's
I
inappropriate.
just let him just be on the
Let it ride.
That's
The truth, man.
Yeah. Number 4.
Number 4. This one's tough and not 100% fair, but Greg Oden.
That ain't,
mostly
no, that
it's not
ain't,
his
no,
fault.
that ain't
Hold on,
real.
mostly
No.
because Kevin
I
Durant
got no
was
problem with
next.
that.
I
Greg Oden was a
understand
huge
injuries
bust.
No, he
derailed
was
his
not.
No, it
career.
wasn't. People,
He got bad knees.
if you get hurt, you get hurt.
But Kevin Durant
But
was the next pick, and
there
it was an Odin or Durant
It
draft.
was. It was
Portland
like
took-
Ryan Lee for Peyton Manning.
It was
exactly,
a terrible
and
pick.
they
Hey,
took
he got
Durant.
hurt. Yes,
I mean, they
that's a
took
factor,
Odin.
but
Durant
it's still
turned out
bad
to be a
pick.
top 15 guy
Yeah.
ever. So in
Oh.
hindsight,
Ah.
terrible pick.
Anthony
He
Bennett
was so
should've been
dominant that year in college.
It's not a shot at him. It's he got hurt. But Kevin Durant being right behind him makes it a terrible pick
It
because
does.
they got a
but
guy who
I
played
can't
82
blame a guy
games.
when you get injured and it's like, okay, injuries happen. It's like blaming someone for getting a car accident. It
Yes,
wasn't
the
their
Buckeye
fault.
apologists are in full form.
Wait a minute. So, wait a minute. While we talking Buckeye, Steve said that Robert Smith is credited as the first Buckeye to say.
Is that true?
He's according to Steve.
Hey, Steve,
Thank you,
I know
Steve.
you're in Atlanta watching, but when's Robert coming on the show? Like, we got to get Robert on the show. We've exchanged text messages. He wants to come on. I say give him a shout because we need to hear from Robert Smith.
Yeah.
I want to talk about him
story.
being the first one ever to say the Ohio State University.
which is now trademarked
it is
as
trademarked,
of today.
and I hope he's getting royalties.
I doubt it.
I doubt it too.
Yeah.
They ain't cut no checks.
Nobody does it like that. Number
All
3.
right, number 3. This one hits home here in Cleveland. Anthony Bennett.
Thank
I have
you.
some numbers for you real quick.
Look at that
He
picture,
played
too.
Thank you.
on 4 NBA teams in 4 years. He averaged 4.4 points in his NBA career.
Wow,
Now here's the
wild.
game. Here's the game. He's played in 2 overseas teams, one in Turkey, one in Israel. Can you guess how many points per game he
4.
averaged in Turkey?
4.
22.
1.2. Can you guess how many points per game he averaged in Israel?
Below 1.
6.
Dang, I wanted him to
This
have
is
it.
by far. It don't matter who you got on this
I agree
list.
with you.
He's number 1 by a landslide.
I don't know why you. I don't know how he's not one.
I don't agree with
Nope.
that.
What you talking about?
Darko's got to be ahead of him.
Man,
He's
he's
number
worse
one.
than Darko.
Number 1.
Number 1
The
overall
number one
pick.
pick.
Yeah, but Darko was the second pick.
Who cares?
So what? That's the number
They
one.
passed up on Carmelo Anthony.
And
We passed up on
Hold on,
everybody
hey,
else.
There was nobody
Calm
great
down,
at the
calm
top
down,
of that
calm
draft.
down.
Darko.
Giannis
Calm
Antetokounmpo
down.
was in that
Bosh,
draft.
Yeah,
Chris
let's
Bosh was
let's
in that
take number
draft.
2
Go ahead.
because it is Darko Milicic, who was taking over
That's absurd.
Dwayne
This is
Wade,
absurd.
Chris Bosh, and Carmelo. Those
Guys who
Wait
you
a
knew
minute.
were
Wait a
good.
minute.
Mike,
It does not
Mike,
matter.
Factors in.
Wait
yes,
a
it
minute.
does.
Let me kill all this.
Yeah.
They could have had Giannis Antetokounmpo, the greatest
But
to ever
nobody-
do it. The greatest
But
to ever
nobody
touch
knew
the game.
When did he get drafted?
I think the same year.
Giannis was
No,
the
no, like
15th
where?
pick.
Like, what
He
was
was the
what was the
15th
pick?
pick in the draft. But he was a
15.
guy from
Nobody knew
Greece.
Giannis
It
Unknown,
doesn't.
complete
It doesn't
unknown.
matter.
The year
They had a
guys,
chance to
guys.
get the greatest
See-
player to ever dribble a ball, and they
Stop it,
passed
stop
up
it.
on him.
The guy who, when they took Darko, everybody knew Carmelo was going to be a great player. People knew Dwayne Wade was going to. Giannis, you didn't know. They didn't know about Giannis.
But Darko.
Bucks
Larry
got lucky.
Brown, when they drafted him,
got lucky.
95% of basketball fans
Well, like,
across the
what?
country were like, what the hell did Larry
The
Brown
year the
just
Cavs
do?
took Bennett, nobody knew who was worthy of the
But
there was no
guess
clue.
what?
No, that ain't true.
But when they took Anthony Bennett,
Yeah.
the world said Anthony.
I know.
I swear.
Yes, they
Not
did.
true.
Yes, they
That
did,
is a
Bull.
fact.
Everybody
No.
was like,
It
what?
to me, it was
Everybody.
equivalent to when the Browns drafted Alex Mack in the first round. I was sitting there, I'm like,
was a
who
great
is?
pick, though.
I didn't know who he was. Like, who is
At
Alex
least he
Mack?
panned out.
He did,
All
but
right,
Anthony
Darko.
Bennett was
These
like,
guys are wrong.
Darko's like
We'll
hanging
move on.
wallpaper
Go
in
ahead. Who's
Afghanistan
number
now
one?
or something.
Who's
All
number
right,
one?
here's number 1, and before we take it, Steve, I'm going to explain. Well, let's take it first, and I'll
that's
explain. as
sad.
it is.
That's sad that
Yeah, I
you got
know,
to say
I
this.
know.
Johnny Flynn is the worst pick in recent
That
memory
is
for
the-
2 reasons.
Oh, my goodness.
A, he was taking the pick before Steph Curry. Second off, he was the second point guard in that draft the Timberwolves took instead of Steph
What
Curry.
was
He got drafted 5th.
Ricky Rubio.
Ricky Rubio was the 5th pick. Johnny Flynn was the 7th.
That-
Steph Curry
that
was
is
the 8th.
terrible.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know
He
what? I
was
do
the
remember
second
when they
point
did that.
guard.
I do
blew
remember
it.
when they
The
did that.
second point guard the Timberwolves took in the same draft that
The
wasn't
7th
Steph
pick
Curry.
in the draft can't be the number 1.
No.
Where did Steph go?
The
Where did
very
Steph
next
go?
pick.
Oh, he was
8
8?
overall.
I
The
would
very
go-
next
Coming
pick.
out, he went to Davidson, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he took Davidson to the Elite 8 the year before.
I know.
Came back.
Now, but you
That's
know,
not pissing on Carmelo. Carmelo
can't.
dominated
Listen,
college basketball.
Listen, if you
It's
mess
Anthony
one pick
Bennett.
up, if you mess
Anthony
one
Bennett
pick
should
up,
be
it's
2
one
behind
thing. To
Darko, in
screw
my
up
opinion.
2 picks at the same position as a guy who generationally changed the game of basketball, when most people had him rated higher than Johnny Flynn. Johnny Flynn was a reach at 7. He wasn't expected to be a
Yeah,
top
that
10
was-
pick.
that was
They
I'm
reached
smarter
for
than you
Johnny
pick.
Flynn
All right,
ahead
Mike,
of
let's
Steph
all
Curry.
admit we're going to argue
Second
about
pick
Darko
at
versus
point guard.
Anthony Bennett, but we all agree that pick of Johnny Flynn was terrible.
Yes, it was.
That was
trash.
bad.
well,
Anthony-
the pick that Minnesota made, it was a terrible draft pick. But I don't know that it was the worst draft pick since 2000.
Second
Oh,
point
my
guard in the
God.
same
The
draft.
other
that
4
was-
guys on
I
the
know.
list, you're like, oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
need to know
we
who
can
was in
argue
that.
the order, but we're like, oh yeah. But who would have even thought of Johnny Flynn? Nobody.
Well,
I did.
It is a smart mention. It would have been maybe number 5 or an honorable mention, because when they did that, everybody was like, what did they just do? They just drafted a guy at that position 2 picks earlier. Who the hell drafts 2 point guards in the top 7? It's happened once.
The fact that even you went overseas and that's not EuroLeague, that's not Spain,
No.
that's not your top Euro. This is like JV Division
Garage
3.
sale league.
Yes,
I need to know.
and you got 1 point. First of all, nobody's coming out of UNLV.
By
it's
the way-
just not the Greg Anthony and
Major
and,
miss. By the way, major miss. That definitely should be in the top 5.
Did you just Google this?
No, I was.
Oh,
Markelle Fultz.
Oh, yeah. That
ain't
It's
fair.
up there, but it's incomplete.
Yeah, he
Yes,
messed-
was
he
in the honorable
messed
mention,
up,
but he's
though.
old.
But he sucked.
They
in
messed
before he
up.
got messed
No,
up.
they messed
He
his
didn't know how
shot
to
up.
shoot.
He was athletic.
He didn't know how to shoot.
Markelle
He averaged
Fultz.
14 points per game last year. And he's still coming back. He's still 23 years old. Like, yes,
Yeah.
it was a terrible pick because Tatum was who they traded out for.
To
and
me, you
he's
guys,
a superstar.
you
but
guys are ignoring that part.
Okay, I got some people that
Who?
the Cavs didn't get when they got Anthony Bennett. Victor Oladipo,
Those guys were. He was a later draft
C.J.
pick, though.
McCollum, Michael Carter Williams.
it's one of the
was
worst drafts in
Giannis.
recent memory.
What
was-
year was that draft?
No talent in that
2013.
draft.
Rudy Gobert.
Like, these are the guys that you're pointing
Hold
out
on.
as
I
stars
know,
of the
it's
class.
sad.
That's a problem.
It's sad.
I mean, Rudy Gobert has won 4 Defensive Player of the Year awards. Let's be clear. Giannis has won an MVP. He's won
Outside
a
of that.
championship. There's a couple of dudes on there.
Oladipo did go second.
Oladipo did his thing. Let me just
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
but look at the other top picks in that draft. They all suck.
They do.
It was a bad draft.
The top
Everybody
9
knew
picks
Kevin
are all
Durant.
bad.
I wouldn't have picked Anthony Bennett.
No.
Well, we have the benefit of the results. It's always, everything's 2020 when you got the benefit of the results to look at.
Look at all these guys that went before Giannis. Cody Zeller, Otto Porter, Alex Len, Nerlens Noel.
Otto Porter just won the championship with the Golden State.
As a 10th man.
He's on the team.
But he got a $100 million deal, too.
Shabazz Muhammad.
Man, what happened to him?
He did.
Kelly Olynyk went before Giannis.
Giannis, the only footage of Giannis was grainy standard definition footage from like a backroom gym in Greece.
You talking about the GOAT? That's what you talking about?
Yeah.
He's phenomenal. Listen, he's one of my favorite players in the
can't
league. He's
believe
going to be a
he's
top
been-
15, top 10 guy of all
2
time.
weeks from
Like,
today,
call him a
we're going to have
I'm just saying.
a
Listen,
brawl on this set.
2 years, y'all gonna be like, Tyvis is a prophet. I'm gonna just be like, listen, you can wait or you can just join me now. I'm telling you. Listen, America, Giannis Antetokounmpo, he get that jumper. Because he already, listen, you know what?
He's got to win 5 more before he's really in the conversation.
Okay, well, he got one down. I tell you what,
Never gonna be in conversation with LeBron and Michael.
He won his first ring before LeBron did, before Michael did. Younger wise.
Well,
I mean that's
Michael,
a great
That's not a
start.
fair comparison to Michael because Michael went to college.
Tyvis, with all due respect.
I'm talking years in the league. Like it took him I think it took him 5 or 6 seasons to win a ring.
Who was the Chris Middleton that LeBron played with?
Zadrunas Ilgas. I'm about sick of the world not giving Z. Like Z can score.
Is he the GOAT?
Rebound, pass, block. What more you want him to do? Coach?
13 points
He's
a
an
game.
okay player.
Come on now, this is Zadrunas was that guy.
In 2 weeks,
He's second in Cavs scoring history.
For Giannis, but right now we got to talk
sad
about
state of affairs.
the new leader in the clubhouse on our running good bet, bad
He's
bet
come from
segment.
last place. He was in last place.
Last
at
to
one point.
first. It's a true redemption story.
unstoppable right
Almost
now.
as improbable as
It's a Cinderella
Giannis
story.
becoming the best player from the 2012 draft class is Adam the Bull overtaking the
is
lead
Mike doing
from G.
that?
Bush with
Been
a
on a
3-0
roll.
Forget
performance
Mike.
yesterday.
Let's focus.
I'm in second place.
How long? First of all, listen. We need to put something up.
Nope.
That what I've done will never be duplicated.
What did you do?
I've led wire to wire. I had the belt for nearly 80 games. That record will stand forever.
You don't got leading the first week or two.
Nobody will ever have as many weeks in a row at the top of the food chain as the People's Champ.
I was 3-0 the first week.
I think it's time for everybody to congratulate me.
Listen,
let's talk about the fact.
Isn't it about percentage?
Right now, I am the Guardians of picking games. I'm on fire just like the Guardians
You are on a streak, man. I mean, you were. There was a stretch. What happened was he saw that he was below 500, and I was watching his face. He saw it on the screen. He was like, "Man, I suck."
That's embarrassing.
And that was it. Now he's got 5 sites on speed dial.
Yep.
Who you got on Good Bet Bad Bet for tomorrow?
That's right.
He's doing research now.
That's it. I'm spending
Alpo
hours.
research.
How did we do yesterday? Another 3-0
Jay
for
went
Bull.
2-1. Bull went. Jay went 1-2. Excuse me. G went 2-1.
Wait.
And
I picked the Guardians.
Wait. It can't
today's
be.
games. The Guardians are once
You had the
again.
under in
I gotta
both
do
games.
something that's
You had
skill-based.
the under in both games. They went wrong.
That ain't it.
Yes.
Jay missed it. You guys all agree today, though. This one will be either all good or all bad.
Yeah.
Guardians
Good pitching
getting another
matchup.
run and
Really
a half
good pitching
against the
matchup.
Twins.
Both pitchers are good.
Yeah. We're all gonna win on that one.
Why is my picture zoomed in and y'all's isn't?
I don't know. Can we look at him again?
We gotta go.
We'll
to
see it on the next one. The next bet we also don't agree on. Jay, you're in the lone here. Over 8.5 runs in tonight's game.
You think that, huh?
Well, but they scored 11 last night.
Yeah, it's not
Two
going
good
to
pitchers
It ain't going to
tonight.
happen.
2 really good pitchers.
Yeah.
tonight. But I'm still taking it. Guardians are hitting.
They are.
Fran Mill's gonna go nuts tonight.
Tristan
I
McKenzie,
agree.
Sonny Gray.
Gonna go nuts.
He hits in
Sonny
streaks.
Gray's a witch.
Yeah.
I like Sonny Gray a lot.
Since leaving New York, he's one of those guys who couldn't pitch in New York.
No, you remember Freddie Whitson? You're too young.
Not Freddie Whitson, Ed Whitson.
Ed Whitson.
I'm
yeah.
not too young.
Wait a minute.
Come on, Ed Whitson.
You older than him?
Remember,
Yeah, I'm older than he is.
remember Pomerantz.
You're surprised by that?
Yeah.
remember all the people talk about was Pomerantz and White. We have those 2 guys. They were trash. Get them out of here.
Yeah, that's true.
No, Pomerantz had turned into a decent reliever recently, but he's hurt
Yeah,
this
but was
year.
supposed to be
He's the
Supposed to be a
truth.
good
the
start.
guy.
Yeah.
And what's the last one?
Last one, you guys are all in agreement here. So, Jay, you can pick up a game. No one else is going to pick up anything. But
Good.
the Lightning getting a goal and a half tonight against the Avalanche.
They
Colorado
went nuts
leads
in game
2-1,
3.
but the Lightning dominated.
They went
game
nuts in
3,
game
yeah.
3.
So I watch By the way, I meant to ask you.
Period, I think.
What, are they? First of all, on SportsCenter, are they all reading off a teleprompter?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
I didn't. All right.
I mean, I didn't. Some guys do.
Yeah.
Jim Donovan doesn't.
Yeah.
All of the lead-ins
Yeah.
are scripted. It's
Yeah.
just whether or not they decide they want to read them or not, the way they're scripted.
One of the hosts yesterday made like a snide comment about another journalist, and I was like, "You're reading off a teleprompter."
What was it? What did
I
you
don't
say?
want to say it because I don't want to call them out, but.
Huh.
But anyway, and then what bothers me about Around the Horn, I like.
It's unlike you to not want to call someone out.
I know.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, it's a woman, and they'll be, oh, you're picking on a woman.
Oh, okay.
But
ED initials?
yes.
Okay.
But I'm watching Around the Horn yesterday, and they always like force feed hockey into Around the Horn.
They do now because they're business partners with
Right,
the NHL.
and I'm like-
they used to ignore it.
I just don't like most sports reporters don't know anything about hockey. That's like its own niche, right?
Linda
Like,
Cohn does.
right? Yeah, certainly.
she's-
Emily Kaplan,
Yes.
that works there. She knows
They've
hockey.
got 4 or 5 folks.
Right, but
Steve
like-
Levy's a huge hockey head. Booch is
Right. But
unbelievable.
yesterday on their panel, they had like, what's his name out in L.A. with the bad goatee? The older writer. I can't think of his name.
Used to be in Dallas.
No. You're thinking of Kalashaw.
Yeah,
Bill
Kalashaw.
Plaschke.
Plaschke,
yeah.
right?
With
I'm
the
like,
bad
does Bill
goatee.
Plaschke know anything about hockey?
Yeah, look, so
I
here's
hate
the
that.
deal. There's a little behind-the-scenes
Yeah.
tidbit about ESPN.
Yeah.
It's almost like state-run media. They cover the sports that they're in business with.
Right, yeah.
And for years, they were out of the NHL business, and the NHL did not exist. We had,
Yes.
as far as I know, one person on payroll for SportsCenter,
Yeah.
and that was Barry Melrose.
That was
Yeah.
it. Right.
And he was our hockey guy.
Yeah.
And so we would do 1 or 2 segments a week during the playoffs.
Right.
And then we would talk about them every day during Stanley Cup Finals for 3 minutes. No more. We got to get out of this.
Yeah.
Now they're in business with the NHL, and suddenly hockey exists again.
Yeah, right, exactly.
That's what's always driven me nuts about
And they were just
ESPN.
breaking down this game, and I'm like, I'm not a phony. I know Tampa Bay's won the Stanley Cup 2
Sure.
years in a row, so I was surprised at home that they're a dog. But I don't know squad. I couldn't name one player on the team, honestly.
Right. Yeah. All right,
Right.
we're going to do
Right.
the weight loss challenge now,
Oh,
right?
boy.
So we had the weigh-ins today. I don't know the results, but based on Bull's reaction, they're not good for one of us.
Yeah, I don't know.
So if you're just joining us and you haven't seen, we've been doing this for a couple of weeks now. I think this is the 4th week. Bull and G. Bush decided to go very public with their desire to lose weight. I thought that was a gutsy move because, you're on the clock. Everybody's going to see how you do. So
Backfired the last few weeks.
week 1, Bull came out of the chute.
Yeah.
13 pounds, 1 week, down. We were stunned.
Roll back.
G. Bush has, I think, steadily lost every week. I don't know that you've had any gains. I think you've
no
lost
gains,
weight every
no.
week.
Slow and steady.
Where are we now? Do we have the video for this?
We do have today's video. Steve, let's take 112 when it's ready.
Gained again, which I knew I would. I'm up 4 pounds.
Okay. Probably just some water weight. That's what we call water weight.
Bree, you're so kind.
You're so nice.
Isn't she?
328.
All right, so Bull was +4. G. Bush, well, I don't know what 328 means. Is that down,
We have the
up from
graphic?
the week
Here we go.
before? Whoa.
Good for
There
you.
we go.
Well, okay, so
I'm
you're
proud of you. I'm not dieting, honestly, but I'm doing this to embarrass myself and hopefully motivate myself to get back on track. But you're doing great. I'm very proud of you.
Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna hold you, and you gotta come work out with us. You gotta come work out
After the show, every day.
You at least gotta come 2 times next week.
Wow, he sounds like he just told us he's got to go to prison.
You
gotta go to prison.
You gotta go 2 times.
You might like it, man.
Steve, get a close up of Bull.
2 times. You gotta come 2 times. That's all you gotta do. We're gonna get you back on the train.
What y'all be doing back there?
Listen,
Cardio and weights.
Okay.
And we go in pretty good.
Okay.
Because I lift every day 6:30, 7 o'clock. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday.
We
my
gonna.
routine.
All right, I'll do it next week.
You going next
right.
week?
He's in.
Next week. 2
Next
weeks.
week I'll do it.
And we.
It took him a while to get there.
And we gotta start going back out to eat. We missed it in about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do that. We're gonna be back on. We're gonna be back on the trail.
Yeah.
It's all about getting back on the bike, right?
Yeah.
Slowly but surely.
And Bull, you're still down from where you started. I know it's only a pound and a half, but
don't make excuses.
You're
for
not
me.
up.
I'm beating myself up.
No, that's fine. You're not up.
I deserve a criticism.
But you can do this. You lost 13 in 1 week.
I know.
You can overtake him next week. If you do that again,
true.
and he gains 3 pounds, you overtake him for the total.
That's true.
I always say this.
It's the long road. I haven't been dieting, frankly, the last couple of weeks. I've been eating poorly.
I'm gonna tell you what. It's psychological for me. I'm an emotional eater. So, like, if
what does that mean exactly? Like when you're in a bad mood.
Your mood changes the way you feel. Think about
angry.
food.
Angry.
So when you get pissed, you just start
if I'm
shoveling
upset,
it in.
if I'm feeling down, whatever.
So in the black community, it's kind of crazy. Like, or in a lot of communities, right? You know, Bull's Jewish. Like we got these things where if we celebrating, we eat.
Oh yeah.
Right. So
everybody does.
But so that's great for everybody. But then most people don't feel if you have a bad day or you're in pain or you had somebody cut you off on the road or you got in an argument, you eat too.
Oh really?
Yeah, because the food serves as comfort, right? There's endorphins that are processed and they go in your mind and it messes with your dopamine. So when you eat, there's a reason why when you have ice cream for like that first hour, it's just like, oh God, this is it. This is
You're
great.
on a high.
You're on a high. Or you have pizza or you have mashed potatoes and gravy. It makes you feel good. But then what happens is after you eat it, you're like, damn.
See, I'm a non-Jewish white guy, and I have the same thing.
Like, I messed it right.
I mean, I'm thinking,
but you get back on the,
But you don't have the food problem that we have.
You get
I
back.
love me some food now, bro.
But you go every
You
day.
can control yourself.
No, see,
But you go every day,
if I'm
though.
doing something, I won't eat. But I just got a little breaking news is that the Congress is they're subpoenaing Dan Snyder.
Is that true?
Oh, really?
I just got it from Bleacher Report.
Wow.
Congress to
So
subpoena
apparently
Snyder.
Congress was watching the program.
Dang, bro.
guess
Hey,
so.
we need to
And
stop
you said
snitching.
Congress can't get anything right.
Well, here they go. They can get.
And you know what? So this is to my point earlier. The NFLPA said they were going to take the gloves off. And I'm sure there are people at Park Avenue that are talking to the PA saying, you're going to burn this whole thing down if you're not careful.
Right.
And step 1 is underway.
They better settle this quick.
You aren't kidding.
Yeah.
Because and it might be too late. Because if they're going to ask Snyder to come before Congress, guess what?
Yeah.
This could ultimately end up with him selling this franchise.
And think about it like this. It's hard to suspend somebody. John Watson didn't go before Congress. He said, I done messed up a lot around here. I didn't get taken to court. Can you imagine if a player gets subpoenaed by a federal body?
It's happened with Major League Baseball.
That's crazy.
They called all of the suspected steroid users up there, and half those guys on the committee didn't know what the hell they were talking about. Mispronouncing their names, using baseball phrase all out of whack.
And none of those dudes.
Even that was politicized.
And them dudes.
Everything is.
And those dudes signed their fate. Rafael Palmeiro, we ain't getting in.
Sammy Sosa all of a sudden didn't speak English anymore.
Mark McGuire.
Have you seen Sammy lately?
Oh my God.
He's a white guy now.
Yes, he is.
He looks like Michael Jackson.
He looks like Michael Jackson.
He's same color as McNuggets.
Can we call up a picture of Sammy, or we still don't have the ability to do that?
Tag board, we legally can't use tag board till July 1st, so
Okay.
we've got to wait for a few more
Can
days.
I call up a picture of Sammy Sosa on my phone and show the audience? Because I got to tell you, man, I thought it was a Halloween costume.
No,
when
he
I
definitely.
When I first saw it, I was like, oh, look at Sam. He's going as Michael Jackson for Halloween. But that's like what he looks like now. You ain't seen this, have you?
No, I've seen it.
You're looking at me like, what?
I didn't see it in
By the way, I
the
still put all these guys in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I would too.
It's a museum.
I would too.
Yes. They
Mark McGuire should be in. That was my favorite as a kid.
Now, I ain't even kidding here. You guys are, when you see this, you're going to say, no, that's.
Oh, I've seen it.
I've seen it.
It is crazy what he looks like.
Wow, man.
What
happened?
what's the Jamaican rapper that got the same thing?
Steve,
I want to say it's Movado.
Sean, oh wait, who you talking about?
No, they got the
Look at Sammy.
face whitening thing.
Is it a disease?
Look
Did he
at
get a
Sam.
disease?
Stop. No.
I didn't know he looked like
No,
that.
there's vitiligo, which will change your skin color.
I didn't know it was that bad.
No,
that's some pain.
That's like you come out of the pool and you take your face and you dip it into a big bucket of flour.
Vibes Cartel.
I mean, that is
Wow.
That's
bizarre.
The people that that's a.
All right, we got no time for final takes, right?
Yeah, we.
Tyvis, because you're on once a week. If you want to go, you can go. If
You're
not,
on, bro.
We will punt and say goodbye.
I just,
You want to talk about your golf game?
You don't have to.
Let's talk about Tyvus.
We speaking about what's on my mind, correct?
Right.
So on my mind is everybody. Well, if you don't know, I got this. I was honored to go to the Big Ten is doing like this media experience thing, and it starts next week. I'm gonna be there on Monday, and it goes to Thursday. And basically, they're gonna put us through some media training and stuff like that. And for the first time in a long time, man, I'm nervous. It's like playing in a game again, like playing football again. Like, you're nervous, but until I get there and start doing things, like it's in my mind, because I want to be good. Like, I want to be the best at this. And I don't know, it's just for some odd reason it's the Big Ten, and it's like seems like it's big, so it's like I need to be ready, and I'm kind of nervous. So
you gonna like trash talk the other guys?
I need y'all thoughts and prayers on that.
It is big, and don't be nervous. They reached out to you.
True.
So they're not finding seagulls.
That's true. I'm saying,
they're finding eagles. Like, they already know that you're good.
But like, this the thing. Like, so like on this show, like we free. Like, we could
be free on that show too.
No, I see you in the studio. You gotta be like.
No, you don't.
Shirt, tie, put together.
Everybody's going to try that. You be yourself.
Yes. Nailed it. And here's why. When I worked at ESPN and even in my other day job where it's a little more formal, I used to think like you have to be what the environment expects you to be.
Yeah.
So at ESPN, the one thing that I lobbied against the entire time I was at ESPN, I did not want to wear a suit and tie. I did not. And my bosses were short-sighted, and they maintained that you're going to wear a suit and tie. So every day for 16 years, I wore a shirt and tie. What I was telling them, and they refused to listen to, is one thing that I think works in TV, and you know this as well as anyone, it worked in radio and is working now for you in TV, is authenticity sells.
That's right.
People want to believe that they know the person that's talking to them.
Yeah.
That's your success. People know you're a Joe Sixpack. You're an everyday guy, and you talk about that every day on the air. You can be yourself when you feel like yourself. I never felt like myself in a suit. I come to this show, I don't wear socks, I wear T-shirts, which I wear what I wear every day.
Right.
When I'm having conversations with sports fans about sports things. So it's easier to be ourselves here. Take the Tyvus that has blossomed on this set to Chicago. And I'm not saying be the same while, there will be some parameters for you, but be you.
Let your personality out.
You works. People like you. You're a genuinely nice and likable guy. And don't try to fit into what you think they want you to be. You'll fail every time.
Yeah.
That's like we talked about on the show yesterday. When you fake who you are on date one, you're in trouble.
Yep.
Because either you're going to have to do that successfully the rest of your life, or she's finally going to see through it and be like, dude, that's not who you were on date one.
Right.
So be you, and they will like you for being you.
You're going to do great.
You're going to do wonderful.
You're going to kill it, Tyvus.
But don't leave us.
Yes.
Is what we're saying.
Okay.
So if you get all big time,
Giannis is better than LeBron.
It's the fact, and you know what?
Don't go there.
I'm gonna argue that until the chickens come on. I'm telling you,
they'll probably say this guy's crazy.
Not only will I argue it, I'm gonna come with a sheet of paper with stats on it to back up what I'm saying.
All right, and then they'll give you one Post-it, and it's gonna say 6 rings and 6 finals appearances.
Listen, it's in the making.
All right, it's in progress. Tyvus, good luck to you.
Thank you. Appreciate
but don't
that.
forget us.
Yeah.
Why would I
If they
do that?
offer the bag, don't come back.
So we know where your head is.
Hey, they give you that bag, like, man, that boy Tyvus done made it.
I would never do that.
Boy, he up there in them nice suits.
Even if I gotta come in like Aditi and Leroy, I'm coming back.
Made it.
Right. Just don't come out with a blanket like Leroy did.
By the way, for Father's Day, that horrible Hawaiian shirt that I've worn a couple of times, I actually wore that out to dinner.
I actually like that shirt.
Well, I love it, but it's also like it's horrible and great at the same time.
Yeah. Shout out.
McNuggets, is
And
it?
people were like,
His Hawaiian shirt? I like the Hawaiian shirt.
I kind of like Big Hawaii.
I love it.
I did too.
If
He's
y'all
the big
want to
island.
offer him a deal,
He's big
Let's go,
5-0.
Let's
if y'all
go.
want to give him a deal for big Hawaiian shirts,
I'll sign a deal.
We have 3 minutes before we have to say goodbye, right? Do you have anything, McNuggets?
I thought it was
Anything
a
we
good
missed?
show. Tyvus, don't forget about us. And tomorrow we have Jason Lloyd.
Okay,
Aditi's
great.
back.
Aditi's back.
And we have Chris Manning from Locked On Clavs. G. Bush, you got your hand
Yeah,
raised.
yes. Listen, when I heard Jason Lloyd tell a story on the radio the other day.
Does that do in the car?
Yes.
Yeah, he has to tell it again tomorrow.
He got to
was
tell
the
it
story?
again.
Don't. G-Bush, don't.
No, just what was it about?
Yeah.
A car.
Remember I asked y'all what's the limit you can spin without notifying
Yes,
your Jason got a story about that.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? He bought
Real
it
life.
without telling his wife. Didn't
Real
he?
life.
All
And
right.
also, I'm holding you guys accountable. You four, Tyvis, you two. I have an idea I have to pitch Jason that I forgot to pitch the last 2 times he was on, and hand up, that's on me. Now it's on you guys and the viewers
to remind you.
to remind me to pitch Jason my idea tomorrow.
All right.
Okay.
Works.
All right. We'll see you
Very
tomorrow.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
text
we're
you.
out of time.
Hasta
Enjoy
mañana.
the rest of your hump day. It's beautiful outside. It's a little warm, but get out and enjoy it if you can. Tyvis, good luck to you. We're back tomorrow. We'll see you at 11 a.m. on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show with the Ultimate Cleveland Sports hat.
Bunny ears.
Peace.